Welcome to the podcast. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. When I messaged you that you wanted to have your boyfriend on as well, because I just did. I would like to do more of those, like
hmm
couples or whatever. I just did one with a couple in the UK. I had done a podcast with Red Panda Airsoft in the UK. I did one with her by herself months ago. And then while we were talking, she was like, I said, hey, because during the conversation, she was like, my boyfriend got me into it.
Yeah.
And he actually took her shooting for that was their first date, like this,
Well,
like an airsoft shooting range. And with these cool attack sense targets or whatever. So I was like, well, we should have Marcus on, in the future. So we just did one
yeah.
uh, just last week or something, 2 weeks ago. So it was cool. Now, did you want to have uh, your boyfriend on now, or
I guess that's kind of up to you. I'm not sure how you wanted to have things going. I've got him just behind me. We're actually in a studio right now where he works. So he's at his desk just behind me.
it looks cool?
Yeah, here, let me give you a little.
I like that. Yeah, give it
bit.
tour because I
Would
like
you
those walls.
like to give the tour, babe, since this is your workspace?
It's pretty messy.
Well, it's yeah, it's a little messy.
That's all
Hey,
right.
um,
What's up, buddy?
what is happening? Yeah, it's like so where I pretty much work all day. It's a recording studio. It's a bit of a mess, but it's
Dude,
really
it's cool.
there, TV for the system. But yeah,
I
it's good.
love the sound deafening panels.
Oh yeah, no, that helps a lot. Yeah, these are super useful. And then all these light panels up here. These are all like animated lights, so each bulb can be controlled individually, so you can animate like the style. They go
Oh
around
yeah,
the booth, and they go inside the booth behind the TV, and but all the lights can change. Every light in the house is a smart light, so we just have Alexas everywhere, and you just tell the whole house to do whatever you want it to do.
very cool.
Yep.
Yes,
It's
baby
convenient,
girl.
but yeah,
Hello.
So
it is.
is this to, have to do with, or does this have to do with the Bunkr
Yeah.
studio, or
Yes.
really?
Yep, that's him. That
Oh,
is
really?
the name of the business. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Well, I
Mhm.
saw your link on your Instagram,
Yep.
and and then I looked through a bunch of those, and I saw both of you guys like in
Yep.
every picture, and I was like, I wonder if that's their studio. Okay.
Yep. Yep. That's us. But
Very.
the post that you're talking about tagging, I believe I was wearing the T-shirt version of this.
Yep.
So this is our recent endeavor, MilsimFinder.com. So I'm very excited about because for me, I'm a little bit newer to Airsoft. I played it a little bit as a teenager, but it was more like with other friends that like had a few CO2 pistols and we would play at our friends like field because they had like a farm. And if it wasn't corn season, you could just go and play in the cornfield.
Right.
So as an adult, I've always like loved going to the shooting range, practicing with firearms. Love that. I love first-person shooter games. I'm a big VR gamer chick myself. So that's how I kind of usually get that out. But Airsoft is a resource. But we were noticing it's a lot harder to like find events, places to go and play where there's varying sizes events in just like one spot. You always have to go around and find a bunch of different websites or groups on Facebook. So we're trying to make so that if you just go to MilsimFinder.com, we have as many events as we can find. We're constantly updating it. You can go and if you have an event that we don't have, you can submit it to us on the website. We'll update it, add it to the website. So it's just easier to find events to play at for everybody.
That's
Because
very cool.
they're soft, right? So
Yeah.
Finder.
Well, I like that because that is the issue that these guys have had. The guys that started, when we started our channel, our YouTube channel, that was my first. This is 3 years ago. So if you don't know our history, two of my sons and their best friend started playing airsoft 3 years ago, and I was coming out of being paralyzed. I needed something to do, so I started filming all their stuff. So I didn't care about airsoft at the time. Like I just needed something to keep me sane.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I would have never thought, honestly, I would have never thought to start a YouTube channel before I got sick. just, I worked a lot of overtime. I worked in factories, and then at home, we had 5 kids. We were busy, So I was always one of those guys. Hey, I'd just rather go outside and chop wood or do something outside. So, uh, but being laid up is what made me start a YouTube channel. Well, then these guys started playing airsoft. I was like, hey, let's start a channel. So
Hey, yeah.
and when they would talk about finding events, they're going on they had to, follow like 10 or 12 or 15 different Facebook pages.
Exactly.
And I'm like, dude, I don't even like getting on Facebook. Why do I have to? Isn't there one spot?
So
No, that was the thing. And the thing is, they're also, like, we've noticed too, there are some that exist where it's like, there's either a forum that keeps like a post on a forum they have to log into to see all of them, or it's like there's another website, it's a big website, I forgot what it's called, but they have like, it's a map of the country, but the issue is you have to click on a state, you have to click on the category, you have to click on a thing, and it'll just show you that a little bit. It's not mobile friendly. So the idea is I full-time, I'm a studio engineer, but I also do music videos, artists websites, small business websites, marketing for artists and small businesses, because they're pretty much one and the same. And I was like, okay, well, how nice would it be if I had specifically a mobile friendly site where it's like just as simple as it can be. You go to the website, you scroll down, and it's chronological across the country, because most people travel, like the big Milsim players, like ourselves, will go and we'll travel around as well and things like that. And the big players that we know and meet along the way, they're like, oh yeah, I flew from Cali to South Carolina, or I'm from another country and I came to the United States to do some Milsim events and and yeah, and basically there it is, the MilsimFinder website. Just on here, scroll down and click something, and it takes you right to wherever the event site is. But it is, yeah. So if you want to find events, you want to get into, kind of more Milsim airsoft, you have this. We have resources too, where it's like, we have our Facebook group, which are, just a typical group where it's, you could post stuff on there and just find events and things like that. Just another airsoft group that's it's more designed towards, if you share an event on here, good way to submit events and things like that. We have like a little here, some merch, one like t-shirts, things like that. But
yeah,
also the Milsim resources, where it's like, if you want to get into airsoft, you want to find organizers, you want to do anything of that sort, if you go to the resources, we have all the organizers that we found so far. If we have an event from them, they're on our list of organizers. So all their main websites or main YouTube, Facebook pages, wherever they are active most.
Yeah,
we have a list of all of them, airsoft YouTubers, stuff like that. I think we have you listed on there as well.
woo!
Different Facebook groups, things like that. Yeah, where basically anything that's anybody airsoft that's trying to push, some sort of airsoft, Milsim, even Speedsoft, things like that. People, yeah,
sure.
And people that do all kinds of airsoft. Particularly, I do most of the Milsim, because from what we've gathered, people that like playing Milsims are not saying, "Oh yeah, we don't like to play with kids, we don't like to do things like that." It's more of like, you can go to pretty much any airsoft field and you can go and play. There'll be airsoft days. You can go play open play. So like, paintball. Hop in there, bell ring, show each other to bits come out, or hey, a little mini Milsim day, things like that. But people we love doing that. It's a lot of fun. But if we are going to take the time out of our busy schedules and do something, we would like to have almost like be a vacation in a way, where it's okay, let's go play airsoft. We're going for 2, 3, 4 days to an event, and it's going to be an extreme thing. We meet a lot of friends, a lot of cool stuff, and it's unlike anything else. So that's why we kind of dedicated the MilsimFinder site to mostly Milsim events, is because people I'm sure like yourself and other people we know that we don't want to use Facebook, that sucks. We don't want to use Instagram, that sucks. We don't want to have to go on his forum and log in and scroll down these things, that sucks. Yeah. So and especially veterans too and stuff like that, they don't want to. Most of them, they don't want to give a crap about computer crap. They just want to go and start shooting stuff and have some fun with their friends.
Yeah, well, we like things that are streamlined, very efficient.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
For information,
go
like
boom, right there.
Especially information, like bro.
Yeah.
Don't make me click 20 things to get to one information. Like just have it right here. Like.
Yeah, and I'm a tech guy. And I don't like doing that. So
Right. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool, man. So you guys are bringing people together with that, because kind of linking everybody.
Yeah.
All of these different, airsofters and stuff. But yeah, I can understand the Milsim thing. People are more invested with a Milsim. If they're willing to go to a 3-day Milsim, they have to buy $100+ ticket, $150 ticket, whatever. They have to, invest in a lot of gear for that event, specialty gear sometimes with whatever uniform, whatever color uniform they're going with. And then a lot of, BBs, and make sure they have backup guns because they're there for 3 days. So,
Yeah.
and then they travel a lot. So they're way more invested. So I guess you would, more so, I think, than speed softers. Speed softers might travel, here and there, but it's usually,
Well,
they don't have a 3 day speed soft event typically,
Yeah. Yeah. Be a
unless it's a big
tournament.
tournament.
Yep. And then the last thing that I probably mentioned is that well, the other thing we're starting up that we found also being an issue, especially on Facebook and things of that nature, is kind of an experiment. But I mean, it's not an experiment; it's something that could be used generally. But the purpose of it was an experiment where MilsimBST.com, it's Milsim Buy Sell Trade. It is that Facebook, you can't put a post of a airsoft gun, you can't do whatever and say, "Oh, I want to buy or sell. Is anyone can find a part for this?" Things like that. It's a big no-no. What they don't seem to worry about, from what I'm gathering, are links to things. So we designed basically it's like a really super modernized, feature-full, free buy, sell, trade group. You have airsoft stuff. Encourage people, please. We're trying to populate it. It could be anything. You have a magazine, you have a gun, you have whatever you want. You're looking to buy something. You have services. It's if you have if you're a repair person, or if you do patches, whatever. There's stuff for buying, selling, trading, and then services. You could put your stuff on there super quickly and easy. But then when you link that link to Facebook, it's got the name. We designed it has the picture, name, price, description, location, and it's all within a link in Facebook. So if you say, share this link, hey guys, I got some new stuff to sell, you're not hosting any of that data on Facebook, but a link to an offsite website, which is a marketplace. So
Gotcha.
so like if you say like an e-bike, like they or Evic and Novrich and stuff like that, they put ads on things like that. They'll feature products on an ad link that's like, maybe against, you can't have, body armor, just like you can't have guns. Oh, look we have the new plate carrier. Check this out. And the guy's holding their rifle. He's got a plate carrier on. Well, that is a link that's you click it's offsite from Facebook. So it seems that's the way they get around doing stuff. So the idea is if you're wanting to share your guns around a Facebook group, hypothetically, you'll post it on Milsim BST, which you can just go shop for stuff anyway. But then you can link that to Facebook, and it shouldn't give you any strikes. It should be like a good tool to super easily on your phone or computer publish something and then link it to Facebook on the group and whatnot. But yeah, MilsimBST.com. I believe I have the link on MilsimFinder. I was getting it jump started, so I didn't put the link on there right away. But I think now. But it's a nice, super modernized buy sell trade group that hopefully, once it gets more populated, will be a pretty useful tool as well.
Now, how long have you guys, or when did you start this MilsimFinder?
How
long's it been up?
I probably now maybe 4 or 5 months. Actually, I can look. I was looking at the metrics just a second ago.
We were talking about making it to Ice Pick too.
No, Ice Pick 2 we had.
No,
It 'cause we wanted to bring patches and stuff for it. Hopefully, we wanted to advertise.
Yeah, but we couldn't for Ice Pick 2.
Yeah, we want to get MilsimFinder little patches made.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no,
It's a cool logo too.
Thank you. I was thinking, okay, I want to put something together where, it's airsoft, and with all the companies I work with and my clients, my music stuff, things like that. I'm one of those guys where, like, I'm not like I'm not a PC person, So it's like I like to do things where, okay, how can I interject my humor somehow into or quirky to make something a logo wear? So I figure, okay, how can I do something with an MF that it's like the logo itself is kind of cool to look at because it's just like a dude, but it's this big MF thing. Look at it's MilsimFinder, but I've been wanting to do something more fancy and a little more.
Yeah, when you first see the MF, you think it's something else, and then
that's
exactly, it's MilsimFinder. Okay.
Yeah. That's why I think t-shirts and badges will be cool. Maybe we could hopefully fund the site and stuff like that with it, and but I figured
which airsofters would love that kind of humor, so it's perfect.
Yeah, and I had to make this little dude here. I started with it. Actually, this is like pieces of 4 different soldier silhouettes I put together, so I had my own copyright free version.
Oh, gotcha. Right. Right. You make it unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's cool. So you guys, so when did you start the Bunkr stuff? When was that?
I've been doing that for 10 years almost now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did my full-time job for about 4 or 5 years. Did it part-time. I worked with Oculus before, the VR company, the marketing. I did marketing for them, and then for a few years, and before that, I did was an Apple technician. Funny enough, when I was in college, and then did some YouTube stuff with some MCNs with some really big artists in California. And yeah, came here. They lived all over the world, but then came here in St. Louis because I figured, great spot to start a music business because, well, it's better to be kind of like that bigger fish in a small pond than a small fish in a big pond kind of idea. And it seems that, there's so many Fortune 500 companies out here. Property is cheap, labor is cheap, tax low. And, and for musicians, like there's not really like, it's one of those cities where it's a big music city, but it's not yet like it had its time in the past. And it's every city has like their moment and stuff like that for a few years. And, it's the idea that, St. Louis is going to be the next big hip hop city. After Chicago and Atlanta and, Texas, all those die out and, people looking for some new artists and, be here to kind of help push that wave. And, and there's enough artists out here to sure as hell make a living doing it. I was an engineer and videographer and stuff. And, I do a lot of shows as well. And
so were you a musician before? Did you play an instrument or were you into music before that? Like growing up?
So when I was in high school, so two things. I was in high school. There's actually a class that was rock band, and you actually made a middle band. It was one of the classes in high school I had when I was in Argentina. So I played a lot of physical instrument stuff and band stuff like that. But then most of the time, though, I DJ'd a lot. I DJ'd for like 8 years before, and sort of in the beginning of me doing engineering, where I DJ'd all over the place here in the United States and clubs, Europe, and Amsterdam, Argentina, and loved the hell out of that. It was tons of fun. And that kind of got me into the rhythm of music and being like, okay, there's a large audiences. It's, it's like economies of scale for a lot of the streaming stuff and show stuff. So it's, how can I, take my entrepreneurial spirit and do it in something that I have, passion in. In this case, videography, music, marketing, websites, small business incubation, things like that. There's nothing else I'd rather do with my time. So, it works out that I can make a living doing it.
Yeah.
Now,
Grace, were you into music as well before, like growing up?
Yes. So actually, I am a classically trained musician, and I've been doing music since I can remember. My sister started getting piano lessons probably when she was 4 or 5. And my parents were very remiss when I would sneak out at night to the piano and try and play what I heard my sister play earlier. They're like, we have to get her lessons. This is ridiculous. It at least needs to sound good.
Mm-hmm.
So been playing piano since I was about 4, I think. And then ended up keeping up with it through middle school, and in high school, I started training more seriously for college. In college, I was able to, perform pieces that were like 20 pages long, just memorized.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, classically trained piano player. But for me, the vocals are my passion. I've always loved singing. I've always loved choir. I've got to perform in 3 operas, and I've gotten to perform at St. Louis Symphony Powell Hall with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, I believe 10 total performances, but it was 3 different shows.
Wow.
So it's been a really, really incredible experience. I love performing. I love music. I also love teaching. Kids are a huge passion of mine. I used to teach when I was in high school as well, had probably about 30 or 40 piano students and some that I tutored in various band instruments as well that I also got to play. So I met this guy because he's always on the lookout for female vocalists for his clients.
I'm always on the lookout.
Well,
now I have one.
Now you have
more.
But at the time, it didn't hurt because at the time you didn't have as many female artists that came through.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
But now I've started working with some of his clients, and we actually have a few more.
A lot more female artists.
A lot more
she's in
female
all the
artists
pictures
that come too. So a lot of times when you see, there's typically his girl is there, they feel a bit more comfortable coming through because they're not worried about just random guys.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask how you guys met. That was going to be my next question.
Oh yeah,
it was
through music.
Instagram, and it was in a very classy way.
It was a very classy way, and ironically.
So also anyone listening to this, don't just go DM random girls on Instagram. It doesn't work. It's a shitty thing.
Yeah.
I texted her with a purpose.
Yes, and he was very smart, very clever, very respectful about it. And even when we had started talking, he said, look, it's for music purposes. I just realized I've messaged you off of my work account and not my personal account. So this is my work page, and was very open and forthcoming about, the studio, how he runs it, how it works. And then openly stated, by the way, it's in my home. So if you're not comfortable, like just coming to see the studio, we could go out and meet somewhere else first if that made you feel more comfortable. It's like, okay, you know what? This guy has some respect in his bones. Now I'm curious. Now I'm actually
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of have to, if he never said that and then gave you the address and you look it up, you're like, what the hell?
I wouldn't have done it. I would not. That's too many red flags all in this.
Right.
But he was open and said, look, I can see where this would come off.
Sure.
So he's like, I'll own up to it. If you're not okay with that, that's fine. But at least I tried. So
yeah.
No, I love him. He's my baby. I'm sticking with this one. He is. I mean,
he's a really good shot too. It's terrifying. Yeah.
One of the gigs I was actually working because I actually do model and acting on the side as well. And sometimes that means I land a lot of sales positions as well because, they're like, oh, we want the pretty girls to sell things. That's the logic, right? So I was working a gun show.
I kept getting fired from those gigs. It wasn't pretty enough.
I never even got requested for those, okay, bro?
There was this system that I was selling that you would put it onto your firearm. Essentially, it worked through an app, and it was accuracy testing device to see how accurate
it's the popular one that
it's our stability. But no, I was working with that, and I wasn't very good at first because you're getting used to a new piece of tech. But it's okay, so this is how it's working. Perfect. And by the end of the first day, I was a better shot than my boss who had hired me for it. And let me tell you, that pissed him off. It was perfect all weekend when you can outshoot all the guys who are like, I could shoot better than you. It's like, okay, do it. If you can't, maybe you got to buy one.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's a great sales pitch for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, is it one of those? I've seen those ones that that go into your bore.
Yeah,
kind of like a laser.
Yeah,
in a bore.
The stabilizer, accelerometer, so it knows if it's straight and whatnot in relation to what you're shooting and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it hooks up to your phone. As really
the
cool.
Mantis.
The Mantis.
It was the Mantis X10 that I was selling.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they even have the Airsoft variant too.
I mean, if you have a Picatinny rail, you can just slide that thing right on there.
Yeah.
It was a nifty little thing. That was definitely fun. But I've always been into firearms.
Now we have more Airsoft stuff than we need. Yeah. Because it's one of those things where like when you play a video game, it's like so I'm a big techie guy and I'm a big logic guy and whatnot. Like I like things to be very practical. So the logic states that there is a certain length and distance that airsoft guns are practically accurate with a BB. And the BBs can only go so accurate so far. They're a round object, it's fixed weight and stuff like that. So it's like the science only lets you shoot them things only so accurate and so far.
Yeah, like 30 feet.
Yeah. Exactly. So the idea is that so when we went into airsoft, I'm like, okay, listen, I want to maximize my potential of my dollar. We're gonna go outfit ourselves head to toe with airsoft stuff. We're gonna get the good stuff, no crap, and I'm gonna do the math. And I spent way too much time, way too many nights, just reading and looking into the physics of airsoft and things like that. And then, okay, what is the optimal barrel length? What is the optimal BB weight? What is the optimal hop system to go with? Just the definitive thing. And essentially, we just okay, we need a gun for an assault purpose. We need an SMG. We need a long range rifle. We need some good pistols. And I figured, okay, and I went and did all the math and figured, okay, what's physically the most accurate thing we can get that it's like, listen, improving it physically means nothing because it cannot be improved anymore. Physically, this gun is defying the physics trajectory of a BB as best it possibly can. So we got, her Samurai Edge, I suckered out, got the SSR 15. We have the Chris Vector upgrading. We have an ARP9. It's got all the bells and whistles, says the drum mag on it. So if you're shooting at 350 FPS, good luck getting it more accurate than this. We have I got the Terran tactical pistol with an upgraded barrel, hop system, and whatnot. So it's got the extended barrel, so it's a little longer than it should be, but it shoots better than most people's rifles. But now it's like to prevent ourselves, not to get off topic, but to prevent ourselves from overspending on airsoft and ending up with we have a already wall full of guns, but they're for a purpose. Everyone has a purpose. We have a lot of friends we play with dudes. We have SIP air setups of chest rigs and stuff, right? But like, okay, from the get go, we're like, we need these weapon classes, we need this gear, we need 3 sets of that because we have a friend that comes by and plus a 4th set just in case it's a smaller one, and we're not going to spend any more than that. And got the best guns we could find, love them, use them all the time, and I highly recommend everybody that if anyone's listening to this or getting into airsoft, it doesn't matter what you do to your gun. Physics will tell you it's only going to shoot so well. So the idea is that, tight bore barrel, 6.03, 01, a decent R flat hop, a good 11.1 LiPo, gate tight and gate aster if you want to have, so you can have all the bells and whistles of all the trigger features. And that's pretty much it. Compression. So the compression ratio, if you're getting a gun for a rifle, you're going to have hopefully a piston that's going to be the right volume of air going through the barrel. That's not going to cause any vortex issues when the BB leaves the end of the barrel. Also, don't chop your barrel because you need the cone on the end of it for the BB to go out properly. And then just leave it. If you can get a gun that's upgraded barrel, hop up, and gate, or a MOSFET, buy it. Don't do a damn thing to it. Cover the outside of it with everything you want, pinatas, freaking lights, whistles, whatever the hell you want. Leave the insides the same. Your gun will really shoot better than it does out the box. If you're getting a pre-upgraded one, like EMGs, they have like not the best reputation. They say sometimes, but either they're amazing or they're unreliable, and they'll even say it themselves. But if you want an upgraded gun, you get an average gun, you get an EMG gun, or you get a VFC, and you get tried and true like Prometheus barrel and hop up things like that. That you go in any forum. Typically, everyone's going to say the exact same thing. That's typically for a reason, because everyone has agreed that is the best upgrade system or path for that rifle because of the sizing and the gauge and tolerances, because it's all the same barrels in every gun. It's just how much is a wiggle in yours compared to someone else's. Mm-hmm. Oh, this hop up fits snugger than this one does, has less feed issues. So everyone's like, okay, get that one, right? So people like I talk to people all the time because hit me up with a MilsimFinder or something like that. Oh, I have a question with the airsoft gun. Or, oh, you have all this gear. I have a question with this. And people will spend twice the amount of their gun to get parts for the gun to constantly swap them out to try different things. I realize, oh, it's not shooting any better, it's shooting any worse. It's like, yeah, because there's a reason why they manufacture these things in mass quantities, because they tested it and they know it shoots well out of the box. If you need to fix anything, it's for durability issues. You want plastic to metal, or you're going to physically upgrade to make the barrel longer or tighter. If it's not that, nothing is going to really help your gun unless they'll just cook it quicker, basically. And then there's like, okay, you can make it shoot a little bit faster, a little bit harder, but then you're risking cooking your gun big game, which I've seen so many times now that people, oh yeah, new engine, new battery. Or they put a big battery in it, and it only takes 9.6 volts or something, and they just cook the damn thing in the middle of the field. So they all get shooting faster and further, great, but it's going all over the place and getting super hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can restrict yourself in buying stuff where you stick to classes. And if you want to upgrade your gun, consider buying a better platform first before upgrading the older one you have. Just because, well, if you have an older SEMA that's not as like what I call like dumb guns, MOSFET, things like that side of them, it's usually not worth tinkering yourself. It's better to get a gun with a MOSFET built in it into the gearbox, and you just upgrade the barrel hop up battery. If for some reason the gun needs a new motor, it's a cheap gun with a crap motor, maybe upgrade a motor. But I always say don't do that because the teeth lineup issue is a problem. And you're gonna have, cook your gun. You can grind your gears. You can get high torque or high speed when you shouldn't have one or the other.
There's so many people, man. Like the majority of airsofters, and these are guys I've talked with that have been playing for 10 years, and they'll still make the same mistakes with those kind of things. They'll try to upgrade their thing. They don't really. I think a lot of people don't understand that there is a limit on how accurate this thing's going to be, because it's a smooth bore shooting. It's like shooting a shotgun. It can only go with way less, with a really light thing that's really susceptible to wind. And but yeah, like I remember when these guys first started getting in, they were talking about, well, this one's not LiPo ready, so we can't use it. I'm like, I didn't understand anything. I still don't know a lot about airsoft, to be honest. So I didn't understand. Yeah, why? I was like, well, why? Because I'm a logic guy as well. I like most of my decisions in life or whatever are if-then statements. Well, if this happens, then this. Okay. Yeah. Well, if this, that's how I figure out what problems there are.
Logical deduction. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So I worked in maintenance. I fixed things, right? That's what I did in most of my career in life. I worked in factories, working on manufacturing machines, shit like that, and a process tech or whatever. So if then statements are always, I'm like, well, why? Well, it just says you can't use one. Well, don't you want to know why? So like, well, let's
Yeah.
try it. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
Find
And
out.
well, later on I found out, it's different. But yeah, some guys they'll try to up their RPS, not knowing they have shit gear. They have a basic cheap gearbox,
Yeah.
and then their gears burn up, and they can't figure out why.
Well, here's
Or
why do you shoot fast. Why would you shoot fast? Is that you can increase the odds of hitting your target with more BBs hitting hopefully the spot of which you intended to shoot.
Yeah, they're following closer.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is, if you improve your consistency, well, you need to shoot more BBs if you're more confident that your spread is smaller, right? You save BBs, you have a smaller spread, you less give yourself away. I never understand why people want to increase unless you're an LMG or your speed stop.
LMG,
you want obviously there's the clout game where I want to have the fast shooting thing with a bunch of lights. We have what do you call it, not the blaster, the Bifrost, right? The one shoots all the different multicolors things for the fun of it. But there's
what is that? Is that a
the I actually have it on the end of the one of the SMG.
It's the Bifrost that we have on the end of one of our SMGs.
I've heard of it. Is that the tracer unit that you can change colors?
Exactly. Yeah. So this is by all means the dumbest and least efficient thing you can have on a gun that you don't want. Essentially, isn't going to give your position away. It's going to make a bunch of ridiculous colors, but it's also on this, right? This is also upgraded barrel, upgraded hop, upgraded bucking, things like that. Because this was just a base level ARP9 that extended barrel, a couple other things to give it that tight bore, better bucking, decent hop up with a rotary unit. Simple standard stuff, putting all the stuff Prometheus, this, Max Hop, that. There you go. But yeah, the idea is if you are shooting more BBs, you could also consider the idea of, well, why not take your money and have it shoot more accurately, so you have to shoot less BBs and have more confidence in your shots, all right? This is obviously just for the fun of it. This came with it, The only thing I want a drum mag for, I just got a Chris Vector, and they're impossible to get mags for it. So the drum mag is the logic of, well, since they're hard to find mags for, if I can get a drum mag and a couple of normal mags, I should be good. Yeah. And going on with that. But, this we traded a gun we won at an event for and then upgraded really that. Cool. And, magazine extender. But yeah, this is either our guest gun, or if we're going indoor, we want something smaller to travel with. We have this, we have the Chris Vector. But,
now, the one thing you said earlier, the don't chop the end of your barrel off. Now, that's something I've not heard of. So,
okay. So here, let me show you.
The inner barrel has a flared end.
So yeah, every barrel that is worth a damn. Let me see if we can see. This one's a little. Actually, you know what? I can do this to be a lot easier.
This is great. I'm getting a tech lesson and everything.
Oh yeah, and out there it is not presentable at the moment, but it's adapted to a different picture that I have a little bit further back on my Instagram. We have, I know, Bean. It's okay. Yes.
Squawk, squawk, squawk. Okay. So I hear all the time people saying,
but no, we actually we decided with as many guns as we had, we put up some, what'd you call it? Pegboard? Out there?
Yeah, it's the typical thing. Like if you go to a store, it's
like here, I'll show you. Like this.
Yeah, exactly. Black
we
pegboards.
Did that with our
look, this is the ARP9 right there. That's what my ring light's hanging on.
I was gonna say that's a classy ring.
Nice. Doesn't make a good ring.
That's perfect. No, we have just that out there, but it's a mixture of our guns and also our VR. Because keeping things off the shelves and off the floor, they have a whole wall of cool stuff to look at. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Right?
How can you not?
Well, listen, my wife had a some kind of party, women's party a couple weeks ago, like selling essential oils and stuff,
Okay.
Vitamin supplements. And these women came over. Well, I was in here doing something, and then I left the door open. I walked out. And so the one lady was walking down here, and she came out. She goes, I love your office in there. I was like, oh, okay. She said, yeah, my husband would love, all the guns and all this, the way it's set up. But I love, so your guys' studio, those, the sound deafening plates or
Yeah,
whatever they are.
yeah, it's on deflection panels. Yeah,
Yeah, the panels. So I got the cheap, uh, whatever, egg crate kind of,
yeah. I used to use like
foam
the
ones.
ones. Yeah, hmm
Yeah.
yeah.
I spray painted them so that they would all kind of like, look decent because they looked shitty when I got them. And some of them were green, but anyway.
Here we go. So check this. This is Grace's old primary. It's all great with the Prometheus barrel. But if you look inside, you see
Gotcha.
that little bevel there. So what happens is, from what I've gathered, is when a BB leaves the barrel, right? There's a couple things that happen. So pressure's putting the BB out, right? And then when the pressure leaves, it's turbulent, and it can be one of two things. If you have too long of a barrel and too small of a compression, you can actually, it can create a little vacuum at the end there. But when the air flies out of it, you want that to say cushion the BB in a way where it's not going to so much influence its how do you say
Trajectory or
I say
its
so
path when it leaves.
exactly. So you want to control where the air leaves, and it creates more of a positive pressure gradient behind the BB, so it doesn't influence its trajectory. You realize if you cut a barrel off like at the tip there, you'll shoot it, and then right out as it leaves the barrel, it's going to influence its path somewhere. It doesn't kind of retain its spin and straight shot.
Right.
It's like, oh, I have a CNC or not CNC. I have a bandsaw or whatever the hell it is. Oh, I'm just going to go cut this barrel down because I'm not going to spend $60 on the barrel. Then it's like, oh yeah, well, and you're going to wonder why you're all over the freaking place whenever you're hitting those things.
Yeah.
So it is. It's again, you can spend a lot of money on airsoft on things you don't need to spend money on because stupid little things to think about. That if you just read a whole bunch of other people's mistakes before you make them yourself, you can just really get make wiser choices in terms like, well, it's like any video game. What's the most commonly used gun in any video game? It's always the most powerful one, right? So the idea is that you need to either balance your game, which is why airsoft has restrictions. So if you want to be a sniper or want to be a rifleman, you're not shooting 650 FPS full auto at people indoors. That's why you don't do that. You physically
that wouldn't feel good.
You wouldn't, yeah. But get guns that fulfill a purpose. Get good at it. And if you don't know what the hell you want to do, you just get like a PDW sort of, like this is a little bit longer than that, but you can get a PDW one. And what I recommend people doing is like we did with this one here, because this is supposedly the optimal barrel length. That after this, it doesn't change the outcome of where BB is going to go after this little length here.
And what is that?
I know. I was about to say. I think it's I think it's 216 millimeter. I forgot. That's why I feel like an asshole. But no, yeah, all the guns have the same barrel length and whatnot. Because I looked it up and I made sure they're all the same. I think it's 216. It's but
is there somewhere that you can find information on where they've done tests? Like what?
Yeah. Look at Novrich has again. They all stuff like that. But Novrich is all he does all day is he thinks of clever ways to teach you about airsoft stuff and whatnot. But yeah, he did a thing where what's the optimal barrel length? He goes and find all different kinds of barrels, shot the same piston and whatnot, bucking, everything like that, and did spreads and found out that after a certain point you can't get any better, and below a certain it gets worse but doesn't get any better. It's like a curve that just kind of flattens at a certain point, and after that it starts to go down because with too long of a barrel, enough compression behind it, you're going to start choking the barrel where you have the BBs leaving with a little bit negative pressure behind it that's going to suck it back, well, essentially, or not have enough force to push it out all the way. But in this case, in order to solve this problem with her smaller hand grip size, got a little flash hider on there to bend the thing. Yeah, and another thing too, where we have a whole bunch of tracer units, and people say it's ridiculous. Well, we know what really sucks is when you get mud in your barrel. Yeah. And the idea is that if you get a MOX, so people say, oh, MOX suppressors are stupid, things like that. Oh, and MOX suppressors. I don't run MOX suppressors. I run tracers on all mine just because it costs literally about $10-$20 different to buy a tracer unit than it is to buy a suppressor. So just buy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The idea is that, when you do Milsim events, unlike Speedsoft, well, your gun's here, you're walking, you trip, you poke something. Everyone's had a time where they've had the barrel of the gun hit the ground, and now they have a bunch of mud in it. All you gotta do with a tracer unit or a MOX suppressor, you unscrew it, back on there, you're good to go. But if you get get the shit in your barrel without a tracer on the end of it,
Yeah.
guess what? You're out for the next couple hours taking this thing apart. But popping the top off and then having to scrub all the crap out the barrel because God forbid you put it and clean it this direction.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then you're out. And especially if you're playing a Milsim that's 2 or 3 days, well, guess what? Really screwed. Yeah.
We both dove away from a grenade. I had something similar to that.
Yeah.
The gun that I was. And we both saw a grenade coming in. Me and the dude, we both just jumped for the ditch. Sure enough, I had to do exactly what he just said. But this dude is looking at his gun like, well, and just pulls out a pocket knife and like this. And I'm like,
no way.
Yeah.
Stop.
Facing
Oh
up
my God.
No. And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? Suck it out? And I'm like,
what an idiot.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. It'd technically be better for the gun if you did that. Yeah.
He's definitely not the option here.
So one of the stories, the little lessons that it's like, okay, here's some things that when we started playing airsoft, that if we knew this when we started, we would have probably been better off. Guns can only shoot so good for the weapons class that they are. If you're shooting 1 joule, you have the physics, restriction of what can 1 joule of pressure on a BB do and how far can it shoot, how accurate can it possibly shoot. Second thing is protect your barrels, freaking muzzle brakes, suppressors, things like that. The reason why I say this is when I played airsoft as a teenager, didn't have the luxury of having, this is back with Tokyo Maori guns, didn't have threads in the end of it and whatnot. All the time I had an MP5, and a couple times I would go and hit something, the end of the barrel here would either bend because for some freaking reason it poked out the end a little bit there and it would bend the lip, or again, if it just, if I just throw so much of a dip it into a puddle or dip into a bit of mud, taking apart the MP5 was a nightmare. As long as you can pull a pin out and it separates, it's a whole different thing with the older ones. And cleaning it was a nightmare. So it's worth having the fun of, I want to be an operator and have a cool, or a SOCOM, I want to have a cool freaking, muzzle or suppressor and things like that. Well, you hear all the time, oh, it doesn't do anything, you're just an idiot. It's like, well, then I'll see you out in the mud. Have fun.
Well, listen, no, those guys,
yeah,
they want to just gear up and take a picture and post on Instagram and black out their face or something like they're a real operator.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So, it's just, it's think practical. That is if you're practical in airsoft, you don't have to spend so much, but you can also spend a lot and have fun. We spend a lot in our gear, but it's super durable gear. Nothing fall out, nothing break, nothing. It's either bend. Another opinion is if you're playing airsoft and you want to do it for a while, or you want to even try it out, it's worth spending more money. Like, got a guy who I bought the Chris Vector from and the Samurai's Edge for her from. It was worth spending more money on gear that you can easily either resell or have last longer. Say if you want and people out there with cheap gear all the time, I find like their magazine wells are breaking off or ripping off. Their plate carrier is too tight, it's too hot, or whatever. My biggest thing that to me, like, I would get rid of everything I have, all the luxuries I have, for the one luxury that I knew for me was worth spending every dollar on was an X-Fog. Either people overheat because the plate carriers are too tight or too hot or whatever. They didn't get one that has good ventilation, or their vest fog up, things like that, or their gear is too heavy because they didn't think of, okay, I can get lighter weight stuff for just a little bit less money, or maybe I shouldn't go with metal, I should go with plastic here instead. Like I thought metal was the end all be all with airsoft. And I mean, I still prefer full metal gun, even though it's heavier. But it's really hard to find a place where your metal gun will outlast a plastic one, unless you're maybe doing even push-ups. You're holding your rifle and you're doing push-ups with it. Apart from that, I mean, yeah, it's in all practicality when you're out there seeing what people are using, and especially like the pros and whatnot. Don't have polymer guns and be like, yeah, no, it's the metal expansion is an issue, and it's I've never had one break or crack, but you've had Crytek's break or crack that are made of metal, but with the cheaper, I think it's not aluminum, but there's a way they cap metals in certain versions of their guns that can break and fracture and shatter easily, where the polymer guns never had done that. So, don't discriminate polymer and metal. If you get polymer, you'll just be happy you have a lighter gun, right?
Well, a lot of those guys that really want the full metal, full steel guns, like in mystery boxes or
Oh
whatever
no,
when they
yeah,
buy
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
They really want that because they want that feel like,
Yeah,
oh
all
man,
mine are
this feels like a real steel gun.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah. All mine are
it's not.
full. Yeah,
But see, the thing is, most of those guys are not in good enough shape,
yeah,
like physically,
yeah.
to carry that thing around for 3 days on a Milsim. So they go to their first one and they're like, holy shit.
Yeah, no, that was me.
Yeah.
My high-tech SBR Mark II, the big ass metal with the huge scope on it and shit like that, and a whole bunch of attachments. I was out there. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a problem out here, just so you know.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, but
I mean, look, most people when you're
yeah,
growing up, if you have siblings or, if you've ever been around people where they had a baby, and they're like, oh, here, hold my baby.
Yep.
And you're like 15, and you're like, oh, a baby's light,
Yeah, that's not that
carry
bad.
it for
As
30
long as
minutes
you hold it,
on one
yeah.
arm. You're like, oh my God.
Yep.
yeah, that's
It's the same thing, and babies weigh more than guns,
Yeah.
exactly.
So-
So it's nothing. Okay, try holding it like that,
Right.
and it's see how it feels. Yeah,
Well, I remember when I went in the military, it's like, oh, I went back in '89. We were still using the M16A2s. So they're like, oh, it's 8 pounds, whatever, empty. And I'm like, 8 pounds sounds like nothing, man. I was in football, wrestling. I can lift. I can pull ups and push ups all day. Yeah, hold that fucker like this for like 30 minutes in the squad bay, when you're getting punished. Like, bro, your arms are shaking.
oh yeah, and that's the big concern with the new service weapon too. Was the 6.62, whatever the new cartridge, the new gun they made up. I think SIG produces them now. Is that the one?
Oh, I haven't heard it.
Yeah, I think SIG produces the new service weapon that the military adopted a certain amount of them right now, but they finally passed all the things. But the issue is, it's like it's like 12 pounds, something like that.
Holy shit!
But it shoots a bigger cartridge, and it's got like this new new part steel and part plastic cartridge and stuff like that, and it could be it could be belt fed. I think was the big thing about it. Is like belt fed or mag fed. The same platform. So the idea is how can we take the machine gun and how can we take like the standard infantryman rifle
or combine the M4 and
the same upper or something like that will work with the belt fed system.
Well, I mean, an M4 and an M4, the 249 shoots the same round as a AR-15 or M4, whatever. So it's just belt fed. But I want to ask you before I forget. You were talking about the barrel and how it's flared or whatever at the end or beveled. Now when you put a tracer on there, or the Mox Presser or whatever, do you think that affects? Does that have any effect on it, or is it big enough?
So funny you say that. I have had experience with having that problem. So, and I have I can get them, but they're in my. So there's a couple of suppressors, right? There's suppressors that there are. Okay, so let's.
And by the way, if you want to go get something, this is recorded. Okay. So I can just cut this part out, like whatever,
Let me
also, I found an article. So the Army selected 6 Hour to produce the next generation squad weapon. It's intended to replace the M4 and the M249 squad automatic weapon. They got a contract for $20.4 million, and they're going to build the XM5 rifle and the XM250 automatic rifle, as well as the 6.8 millimeter ammunition that they chamber.
Yeah,
and they do run 12 pounds.
Oh, I was right. Look at that.
Woo!
Yeah, thank you, Brandon Herrera and
so the rifle should weigh 8.3 pounds, which is heavier than the M4, which weighs 7.3.
And then the
machine gun is 12 pounds.
But then they have a reduction.
It's lighter than both the M249 and 240, which.
But they want more people that have machine guns than they did before, which will back with their weight and stuff like that. But so
interesting. Well, thanks for looking that up.
Fun fact of the day.
So 2 suppressors here. This is actually my personal primary. This is the SSR-15. The little flashlight on the whole 9 yards.
Very, very bright.
Love it. Cool. Yeah, love it. Also, I am a Magwell guy. I'm not a C-grip guy. Maybe I will one day, but for me, this has always been. I was in a president of the paintball team for a while. I played paintball for a long time.
Yeah.
And for me, I've always just, when I either shot rifles, things like that, or if I play airsoft, I was always a guy to keep my elbows in and be able to essentially use my like the barrel of my gun as like my cover exposure. So say if we're like in like a bush or something like that, you know, if you're C clamping, right, and you're trying to get through a bush, well, here's how much space you have to actually clear things out of your way. If I'm back here, my body can be entirely behind cover, and I can say swoop around a wall using my barrel to clear what's ever in the way. Because in airsoft, that makes or breaks everything. With a bullet, doesn't almost give two shits. But with airsoft, if so much of a leaf or a bug's looking at it in the wrong way, it's going to somewhere else. So you have to kind of peer your way through, and you know, yeah, it's like mad gripping. But anyway, so a couple barrels here, a couple of suppressors here. This is the super common one. The Ace Tech is the AC or AT1000. AT1000.
Yeah, I think my guys have, my sons have that.
Yeah, so we have this, we have the Bifrost, got a bunch of other ones. So here's the thing. So this here, I don't know where are you? You are here. Okay. So you see that? That's a nice fat, nice fat kind of barrel there that kind of comes through. There's enough space and enough volume when once the BB goes through it, it's negligible, the pressure causing an effect.
Oh, I gotcha. So it's when it comes out the barrel, the air comes out after it. It's not affecting
it shouldn't be too turbulent. Yeah, it shouldn't fuck with the BB. But another thing too is that they're also, if you are shooting and you are moving, you know, BBs only go so far. They can travel a bit. You know, your gun BB goes out and you're still moving. You can bump the side of it, right? Which people say, oh, that's not a thing. It's airsoft. That's never a thing. Well, if you have a suppressor like this one that has literally a 7mm hole at the end of it, that the intention of it is to be so these are both tracers. There's a tracer on the end of it here, and then these supposed to be baffles here to quiet it down, right? Right. This is actually supposedly a 22 rifle suppressor casing that they don't sell. These actually these from I can't find these anywhere else. There's like you look up what the freaking insignias and you maybe find them used everywhere, but somewhere every once in a while. But yeah, this used to be apparently a 22 casing that they just didn't put the baffles in it, and, you know, soldered the other bits and whatnot. Yeah. But anyway, though, yeah. So you both put baffles in it, and then, you know, it'll shoot and supposedly suppress. The issue is that whole in the end is so freaking small that when we're using it, we use it for I use it on mine.
Oh wow, yeah, what a difference. Yeah.
So what I found out is that this is only supposed to be used with sniper rifles or DMRs, because if you're shooting at 300 to 375, and you're shooting this thing and you're moving the variance of net pressure where the BBs are shooting out and how straight they go, they'll chop and smack the end of this thing, and here they'll start collecting up and creating a whole problem, right? It's hard to go from here to here accurately. But if you have a sniper rifle or you have like you know, like a higher power DMR, where when you shoot the BB, the backspin from your hop up doesn't really make an effect so it's going out so fast, it has that time for it to catch the air and actually hop itself, right? Where rifles, SMGs, hops are a lot more influential because there's less, you know, it's less force of the BB leaving, so it's gonna start curving sooner. And apparently, from at least what I've tested, this will chop BBs that are not shooting fast enough, because the hop up can actually affect how, you know, where it's hit. You'll see it'll leave ever so slightly beneath the lip there, or if you're moving, hits it, and then all of a sudden you're all chopping up on the inside here because it's just catching pieces after over again. Yeah. So this doesn't. So moral of the story there is that if somebody wants a suppressor, the only suppressors I've seen that actually work well, as I know, there's an average suppression. There's another one that they make, I think, from I think Angel makes one. But the idea is that there's actually like a little guide rod that goes through it that separates the baffles. So it basically looks like this with holes in the side of it with baffles on the inside. Yeah. So, and I'm hoping, which is why I thought this was going to be, is that, I can have a tracer unit and a baffle system in one suppressor. But, you know, you'd have to have a guide rod to go through that would connect. So almost like a power-up idea. But it would be like a power-up idea, but with holes in it, so it really wouldn't be a power-up. But it would connect the same way as a power-up, as to allow the BB to pass through that channel, pass through a gap in the barrel that would then light it up, so the suppressor would work, right? Or the tracer would work, right? And keep going down. It basically had to be lined up perfectly where that you'd have to always have those holes kind of like line up with the sensor when the BB traces through it and whatnot, and then have enough holes at the end here where it actually will suppress it, but then the complexity of machining that kind of a thing and whatnot, and it would be like the ultimate tracer unit, I would imagine, because you're getting, it's not affecting range and it's quieting it down technically, and the tracer unit. But I get to find that this was like the platform I thought that would do that, and yeah, apparently if I drill this hole out a bit bigger and I can find a guide rod system, like a guide barrel, right, basically, that keeps the baffles from bouncing and hitting the BB. If you're moving the gun or something, if it's like they're foam, right? They can dislodge if not packed in there just right.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
well, that's the issue we've had with that SSX 23. I think that's the Novrich pistol, right?
Yeah.
The that's based on the Mark 23 or whatever, and it comes with that really long suppressor. I think it's 2 parts or whatever.
Yeah.
But it has those foam rings in there, and they'll get dislodged a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and the BB starts hitting it. You don't even realize until your BBs are like going everywhere. It's like in paintball. I played paintball for years. Yeah. And it's like when a ball breaks in your barrel. You don't notice until your balls are going just all over. They got paint on the side of them and they're spinning weird.
Yeah, all the little holes inside of your barrel there supposed to pressure all filled in, so it's like it's uneven pressure leaving the barrel and all kinds of stupid shit. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, that's that's frustrating. But there's stupid little things like that where if people that get into airsoft, and the reason why I'm not any sort of library of knowledge of any of these things, but I have a library of experience and research that I've done that I can be like, okay, here's what I've deduced, is that everybody who's gone into airsoft, very few of them are like, oh yeah, like I can just go and just buy myself out of this problem, right? Where I didn't realize, because I figured a lot of my friends that were veterans and ex-military, things like that, they had a decent payout or pension and whatnot, and they used it wisely, so they had money and didn't have to work very much, right? So for me, it's like, oh yeah, veterans, okay, they have money to spend, things like that. Well, come to find out, a lot of them in airsoft don't. A lot of people that get into airsoft don't have a lot of money, and a lot of people that get into airsoft are just kind of like it's like, oh, if I were to spend $200 on something that broke, it would severely screw up my hobby and probably dissuade me from not doing this ever again. So I always like to tell people, it's better, get a very solid platform that's going to work. Hopefully one that comes with a warranty, and then, run with that for a while until you know what needs to be done with it. I haven't upgraded my Novrich one yet because it shoots so well. And until it's like weather gets at it or something like that, I realize, oh, it works really bad in hot or cold conditions, or maybe this is overheating here and there. Maybe I can improve with a better motor that doesn't heat up as much, because the motor gets a little hot in those things if you go full auto for a while. Not for a while, but if you're playing full auto in a game and you're 3 hours in, 6, 7, 10 mags in, grip's kind of hot. And I've heard that there are motors that might dissipate heat a bit better, or grips that you can have better ventilation holes in the bottom, but then they would get exposing elements. So figure out what it is that you want to do and play. And if you are unsure, a short AR platform that can work indoors and outdoors, shoots at 350, 400, and and I hate to say it, and I've never heard any single person ever disagree with me. The best sites you can get for airsoft, I don't care if you disagree with me, they can go freaking suck one, are these stupid cheap ass V-Life sites. They are
V-Life. Okay.
Yeah, they are the $20 ones you find anywhere. They're the best visibility for airsoft. They are durable as they can, they're as slick as they can. They're super light. The batteries last forever. It's got a laser dot inside of them. I run, basically, it's one of those things on steroids, essentially. Like one of the hollow sight looking, the EOTech looking ones, but it's same exact tech, just different shape.
Huh.
But yeah, it's, unless you're wanting to buy real steel sights, always start buy these, because if your sight breaks, you're gonna put this thing back on. You're like, wow, life is a lot better with this thing than it was in my $100 mock, whatever the hell it was.
Yeah. Well, with sights, so I feel like they're pretty useless unless you're just doing target acquisition. So if it magnifies or whatever, but you're not really using the sight to line up, with sight picture, sight alignment, and then put the BB where that sight is. Okay. It doesn't happen. No. There's too many variables. Okay. The wind, a stick, whatever. Like it's just not going to hit where you shoot.
So that's what you say. However, I have never ever shot anything without looking and hitting it through this sight, because I don't know if you know why these are like this. But so essentially, what makes a nice hop-up system, apart from that, it's manufactured with quality parts, is that, so I've done this enough and got nerdy enough with it where, I said BBs can only shoot so physically accurate, correct?
Right.
Well, they do shoot in a straight line relatively. White BBs against a white background suck ass to track. Tracers give you away. So, and especially if you're in a Milsim thing, if you're going there and you're barrel aiming people, or you're like, doing paintball, things like that, you're resting on your shoulder and stuff, they're just you'll be the target of the evening. But essentially, the nice rotary hop-up units have indicators that mark the different spots they're at. And what that's designed to do is that, obviously, if you know your BB weight and what you're doing and the conditions you're in, well, it's going to allow the BB to hop and drop at a different range. So the entire game, the reason why I mag hold still to this day instead of C-clamp is that my finger is basically constantly in my
just in your hop up.
Yeah, it's constantly in the freaking, oh my god, the well here, adjusting my hop up. So essentially, if I'm going closer or further, I can just adjust exactly the amount of clicks. I know it's going to be different. My sight has a laser on these sights here. It's like this little circle one that's got also a line that shows kind of like distance and whatnot.
Right.
So essentially, I am constantly. I shoot one shot. If it doesn't go far enough, bing, bing, bing. If I know I'm going further, I know I need to go 3 or 4 or 5 clicks up, because if I can do 3 or 4 clicks, I'm going to get an extra 50 to 75 feet. If I go down 3 or 4 clicks, I can go engage a lot sooner without having things hop over the freaking target, because nothing is more frustrating than having somebody 20 feet away and it's going over their head because the hop up engages right before they get there. So you see these fly over them, exactly. Yeah. And the idea is that you can aim down, which again, there you are. Oh, why using a sight? Because now you have to aim with lasers not even into the sight anymore in order to get the hop up to get them close enough. Well, for me, it's quicker just to actually constantly be in my sight. Never leave your sight, never leave your target, and to constantly just adjust on the fly. Because my hand's already here. So why not use my extra finger to actually change the distance my rifle can shoot on the fly accurately? If I've shot so many freaking times, especially what's crazy if you go full auto, if you burst or full auto and you adjust it, it's crazy to see. Like, the BBs, exactly where we want them to go. Just like if that is not your fancy, the other thing that
you are a rare breed with that, because I promise you, 99.9% of airsofters that play like Woodland or Milsim are not going to do that.
Yeah.
They are watching the BB instead of using their sight. They're not using sight alignment and sight picture to aim their shot. They're using it for maybe magnification, but they're actually watching the BB, following it, see where it goes, and they're not adjusting their hop up on the fly. They're using Kentucky windage.
Yeah, do that. They're using
Kentucky. Yeah, right. So, but with a BB, you're not like. I've talked with a bunch of people, because I've had this argument in the beginning when these guys were buying scopes and sights, and I'm like, yeah, scope's cool because you're using it as a binocular. I can see them better. That's fine. But you're not really using it you're not going to put the crosshair here on the person and it's going to hit them. That just ain't going to happen, bro. Unless, 50 feet maybe.
We use really fancy targeting systems. You'll be surprised. Once again, physics is a thing. If you can increase the odds of your factors reducing the chance of your BB hitting where it's got to go, well, you have a really good chance where it's going to go. And don't forget, if you're using a red dot sight, it's got a circle this big. To a rifle, if you're shooting 300 yards, that circle is almost like, it's basically a skyscraper at that distance, right? But if you're playing airsoft, well, you're shooting people-sized targets in locations that are typically not designed, but, the engagement distances that are made for airsoft, because no one's going to try to create a big Milsim event where,
football field apart.
And you can see them, further than you can shoot them. It's like, okay, well, then this is we're doing. No one's going to walk up and start shooting, right? That's right. So the idea is that, okay, I have a site that has tolerance this big. I can fit a person there at 100 feet, just no problem. If I know My rifle will shoot within that circle, which again, mind you, you need relative accuracy. It doesn't need to be pinpoint.
Yeah.
A dude can fit in this circle so far. If they fit in that circle, well, then I know that I can hit them. If they're small in that circle, I need to go a couple clicks up. If they're big in that circle, I go a couple clicks down. But that's how you use a sight to gauge your target relative. So the reason why I brought this here, this is recommend to anybody who wants to be a sniper. This Piney freaking what's this 2.5 by 10x. People say, oh, the scopes are dumb as hell in airsoft. If you get it once 2.5 to 10x, it's not much magnification. But what makes this particular model so amazing is, and I got somebody who played the airsoft for the first time with us used my my Crytek DMR with this thing on top of it. And I was like, listen, here's how this works: left, right, up and down. Find your target. Shoot. Where's that BB going? Is it too far to the right? Spin this. Shoot it again. Oh, it's closer? Spin it again. Oh, perfect. Now, where is it? Too high or too low? Spin this. Klung. Now, guess what? Any target that is within 15 to 20 feet of where you just shot, you're going to smack almost at the center of that thing. Not, you're going to see how, if it varies off, you'll see the little bit it varies off, so you can adjust that distance-wise. But being able to adjust, like, windage and elevation on a scope, to me, is way more useful in airsoft than it is on an actual gun. Because, in actual gun, it's like, you're talking about pinpoint accuracy, right? This one, you're talking about turning it all the way to one side or all the way to the other side, almost, like maybe 75% of the way. Right. The gun, your rifle, you're going clicks, literally. You know what I mean? Airsoft, you're 25% of the way. Okay, now it's almost perfectly in the center. Top, perfectly there, because you're talking about having to compensate for the drop and everything. So it's like, where is it that you want to go? You don't have to worry about the hop up so much, because you set that as far as you want to go. And then essentially, with that crosshair, because you can see the little nubbins inside, the indicators inside the sight. Well, if a BB is rising sooner, you want to hit them lower because, well, they're closer. If they're further away, it's the opposite. You want to hit them higher up because, well, it's going to be going up and then dropping. So it's quite the opposite of a gun where you have the bullet drop. In this case, you have to compensate for the rise of the bullet. So you want to hit close targets from the bottom and further ones from the top. So you're aiming down as opposed to up with a DMR, and you just do it the opposite way. And
I understand all that.
Yeah,
but I promise you, the guy on the other end that's shooting back at you, who's using spray and pray and Kentucky windage with no sights on his gun, bro, you're dead all day. Okay,
well, you share playback footage. Yeah, we get about we'll get like 50-ish kills a day with maybe like 4 or 5 or 6 outs, maybe. Yeah, and we have it on camera, all of them. So, and it's like people say it, but it is that if the idea is people are prey and spraying.
Well,
right?
you're a smart player though.
Okay, well that's
use tactics.
It's like people, you would imagine if someone's a combat tested veteran, you would hope they're not just a prey and sprayer looking down the barrel because they've had some tactics that they've gotten. But essentially, the people we play with in the team that we play on. It's in their blood. Like if they're going to go somewhere, they don't walk into a building to get lunch without clearing it first, looking with their eyes, kind of stuff like that. So the idea is that we, as civilians, are competing against people that have actually had to defend their lives with weapons before in an active combat experience and training environment. We don't have, we're not like, C-clamp always, C-grip always, you have, certain tactical always, you must do this, must do that, must do that. Well, okay. We are not, as tactically savvy in terms of a military grade terms, put it that way, as we are really good at fast shooting and, acquiring a target, hitting a target. As what got us on the team is how when we were playing, we were getting all these people out that were on the team trying out for teams, things like that were just kept hitting them. And they're like, oh God, were you guys? How long have you been playing? Oh yeah, we started by our first game we played together as a couple and stuff like that. It's like, oh wow, she's one of the top players in the world for one of the number one VR shooter games. I've been doing this for a long ass time and used to be players on a paintball team that, my rise to fame in the area was that I would play King of the Hill, right? We would go to tournaments, right? We would go to paintball tournaments. I got a bunch of these on video too. And,
nice.
We played King of the Hill. And what I would do is national teams would come in. I would be me, my Dangerous Power G4, and a pair of boxers. And I would go dozens and dozens of veteran professional paintballers would not get me out in my boxers. And I still think to this day the number one King of the Hill champion of our local two bigger paintball parks out here, because I would just go there. I'd strip down my boxers. They'd be 2-on-1 versus me. And the idea is, accuracy is one thing. So the idea is that if you can shoot smarter, that's first one thing. And second of all, if you humans work in a certain way where humans categorize things, or we see things, we categorize, and we look for patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that if you can, the number one way you can hide yourself is to understand the patterns of what somebody would look for you in a stress. Because when you're in a stress environment, you are going straight to your instinct. You are looking up, if someone looks you in the eyeball, instantly, friend or not, that is an alert. It's an alerting form. If someone's facing you and in your direction, and they're somehow pointing or indicating your direction, instantly going to alert somebody. If something's moving, some small rustling. The biggest issue with people are playing airsoft, things like that, or people are playing, like Milsims or like paintball, whatnot,
Right.
is to look for small movements, and they'll forget the gigantic dude walking in front of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the video with the monkey where it's like they're playing basketball and a gorilla comes by, beats his chest, and then walks out. Nobody saw him because they're following the basketball, right? So you need to be that gorilla. So the idea is that, what are they looking for? And what I would simply do is that if you want to play somebody, right, I could be dead smack in my boxers. If you walk sideways or backwards, your mind doesn't process that as a threat, right? If you are walking out in the open, as in casual, like you are not a threat. You have your gun down. You could be just chilling. You're just looking, walking, and you could be facing the enemy, whatever. You are not pointing. So if you're not pointing, you're not indicating towards an enemy area. Like if I have an enemy shooting at me right here in front, if I were to dash far left flank and just start walking my rifle down, they're not gonna. It's like a bee or an insect. You don't pay attention to them. They won't pay attention to you.
The amount of times we have, like, we went to our fob and we asked the cab, like, hey, what's going on?
Our enemies always get shot in the side.
And
put it
they're
that way.
like,
That's just how it always works.
So we asked him, where do you need us? He's like, we just need to take their base. So we would just casually
just walk up to their base.
Walk up.
Hey, you guys are out now. Yeah. Like, what the fuck did you do? It's like, I just walked into the front door.
Yeah, but
like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, I bet you no one done that today yet, have they? No. No one expects a foe to just walk in the front door. You weren't sneaky at all. It's like, okay, you want to go over there? Okay. You go walk, you take a path that's a common path. Take the path beaten. Don't go in a sneaky way, because people, what are they looking? They're looking in the bushes, they're looking at behind bunkers, looking at all these things. No one's looking at the path everyone walks to get back to base with the other fucking teammates. You just walk. And it is nothing, no rule against just not being a threat, right?
How did you get started in paintball? Was that your first? Did you do that before you did airsoft?
Oh yeah. So actually, I did airsoft when I was a kid. I was a lot younger. Then I got into paintball when I became more like a teenager. Because when I was in Venezuela and Guatemala and stuff like San Domingo, airsoft.
How'd you end up overseas, by the way?
So my stepdad is a CFO of a big construction company. They do like government highways, tunnels, waterways, things like that. So whenever they got a big contract, they go there, work with the government, do the gig. And forever long the gig took to make, we were there and went to the next country. But paintball, though, is expensive. Airsoft is a lot cheaper in places that third world countries that can't afford to have paint shipped over to them all the time, right? So airsoft was the way to do it. They sold airsoft guns at freaking just side stores and marts, things like that. People would use them to go rob places with it, but they sold, so people bought them, so people sold them, right? They're airsoft guns. So to get the guns, we go at some sort of park or play place that's in the compound that we lived at. We would start shooting each other up, play games and whatnot. We have face protection that were by no means rated by any sort of company or body, right? And but yet also the guns were shooting 120 FPS kind of a thing, right? They're like
right. 0.12s.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly. So that was the thing. But then, when you got into college and went on high school and college, got more into paintball because, you're a kid, you don't get hit by a paintball. It's like, oh, that hurts, but then as you get older, it's like, okay, it doesn't matter at all. And, and then, the fear of getting hit by paintballs all the time went away. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So as a teenager, I got more into paintball and then got into college, joined a team, like college team. The president left and I became the president of that team. We traveled around, did the whole thing and, just did that. But did it for many years, a lot of games, a lot of playing. I was on a billboard in my university, funny enough, for their clubs and teams. I had a really cool shot. Basically, it was just like this in the mask. It was like that, holding the thing in its Webster billboard. But did that and loved it. It was tons of fun, and school paid for it, which is even better. So exactly. exactly. We got our own guns, school paper, paint, the field, stuff like that, transportation, food, and yeah, it was awesome. But with that though, obviously you learn bad paintball habits. But what people keep forgetting is like, oh yeah, paintball, airsoft, speed soft, Milsims, oh they're all good, bad, this, that, all whatnot, whatever has an opinion or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
But what translates to all of them is how to deal with yourself in a heated situation. Crap, I'm the last guy left, and there's a bunch of people coming in. Like in real life, like I tell my rapper clients, like, listen, you ought to get into airsoft because how many times in your life, a lot of them been shot. Can you go and practice somebody that's about to go ambush you? You can actually shoot them back and not just be like, oh, pretend.
Yeah.
Listen, there's something you can't see that can hit you and kill you, and now you have to defend yourself with a weapon analog, right? And be able to actually defend yourself in that situation. It doesn't matter. They say, oh, your guns there's no recoil and guns aren't accurate. That doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
Like at the end of the day, what you're shooting with and your gun means shit if you don't know how to shoot it or can't get it on target.
Right.
I can kill somebody with my 22 1911. Why does it kill somebody with a 50 BMG if they're just here just shooting somebody with it? If you have a 22 and you get someone right in an eye socket, they're dead. I mean, simply put, right? So it's not the lethality of the gun and what you're using. It's how you handle yourself in a stressful situation. You have a weapon, even better. So in airsoft, hook yourself up with a weapon. You get a bunch of enemies. You get a team, which can be friends, family, whatever the hell it is. And you put yourself in a situation where, okay, I'm pinned down. What's the smartest way to go about this? Oh, boom, shot in the head. Let's not do that next time. Let me try something else. Oh,
Yeah.
Grenade, flashbang. Oh, let me not go that way. Maybe I'm a better shooter at a distance. Maybe I'm a better shooter up close. Maybe I'm a better at full auto. Maybe I'm better at semi-auto. But you won't know those things until you have the power to actually shoot something and somebody to shoot in a situation where you need to actually calm down, not panic, and attack back. Most people will go on the defensive or run away. Well, here's where you practice the offensive. How do you engage? You have a gun that goes bang and it kicks back. Well, if you can't get that first shot lined up, doesn't fucking matter, does it? What you have. So that's why I say airsoft in all the different disciplines, like speed soft, milsim, paintball, all those things. Paintball, yes, running and shooting. But once again, what do you do more in paintball than anything else? Snapping. You will snap. You become a snap expert in paintball, right?
Yeah.
You work out your core, you work out outside, you work out how exactly in an instant you can line up your body. Like I can pick up a gun and I can tell you right now, like my body is perfectly flat, on one side, and I'm only going to expose the bit that I need. Or if I need to do a far lane, I can do a far lane, expose my gun in a part of my head. Because the way I see it, in paintball, the best players get shot in the face, right?
Yep.
Because I really ever get dots on me. If I get out, usually it's because I'm getting nicked on the side,
right on the side of the mask.
That's all I allow them to see me. That's all I allow. And if they get me, fucking respect to you, buddy. Good shot. You know what I mean? And it's a fair out. I'm happy. Plus, you hear a super loud ding, so you're out.
Better if they get that.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing I was talking about with some other people recently is playing paintball. When I got into this airsoft thing, a few years ago and started watching some videos and stuff, I'm like, why do people keep saying like, call your freaking hits? You're not calling your hits. Call your hits. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I played paintball for 7 years. That was a non-issue, bro. Like, it rarely came up. So rare that it wasn't even like a thing. No, there's. Like, especially like you say, if most of the time you're getting hit like from here up, there's no question you got hit. And then there's a big thud, by the way too, because it's a lot heavier. And, but anyway, I just sent a video to somebody I just talked to recently, on Instagram showing a slow-mo of, cause I follow a bunch of paintballers and stuff on Instagram as well. Mm-hmm. And it was that same thing, they're peeking out and, slowed down, and you see the guy like two balls right in a row, just one hits like his arm or something or his hand, and then one hits his mask, and it's just this bright yellow, and I said, see, this is why that's a non-issue in paintball. Like it's everyone knows you got hit, bro.
Exactly. And the thing with airsoft too, it is the whole honor sport thing and whatnot, and but it's how do you put it? There every time we play, there's always the issue of people not calling their hits and things like that and whatnot. but it's, how do you put it? So there's a trade-off. Paintball, rarely are you getting hit, walk out, and come back on the field. You get hit, you're out.
You're out for the
So
match.
the trade-off is if we have more cheaters in airsoft, well, you're also more persistent in game style. Where okay, if I'm hit or out, at least I know I'm going to come right back in a few minutes and I'll be fine. Where it's like where paintball, you get hit, you're out until the round is over typically, and the rounds are quicker. You get to play more airsoft than you do paintball, in my opinion. So it is. Well, you do have more cheaters. You also have more gameplay.
Gotcha.
So now
statistically, that's going to be.
Yeah, if you take cheaters in paintball, cheaters in airsoft, increase the amount of players, amount of time you're playing in the game itself, I mean, per shots fired, so to speak, you'll find, okay, yeah, there are more cheaters in airsoft, but it's only a small bit more. And mind you just move on, shoot the next guy. You're still playing. You freaking move on, have fun. You cut, right? And you have a lot more, ammo. It's the fun of it. It's a different thing. The same idea where it's okay. Paintball, we each have markers. We're shooting each other. Paintball, it's you eliminate the other players. Airsoft, it's you complete a task. You know what I mean? It's you can play a whole game of airsoft, never shoot anybody, and still be the best, be the MVP. You know what I mean? You can't play paintball and not shoot anybody.
Right.
The idea is that you can have that one shot that changes the game and stuff like that on paintball and airsoft. But in airsoft, you can be that person and still have action the entire time until you make that one shot, right? Because there's typically shooting is really ever an objective in airsoft. Have you ever played any games you play? Oh, you need to go kill this person. Really, it's not actually an objective. Usually, it's get this from there, hold this building, defend this, help them, don't hurt them. It's a game of restraints. It's not a game of where paintball. It's how much paint can I get on target as quickly as I can. And you're rocking stuff like that, and you're pouring the things and whatnot, and you're snapping back and forth. Which again,
have you seen those paintball guns that are mag fed now?
I've seen those. Yeah, yep. I know they're more prevalent now. But yeah, I'm not shot one myself, but yeah, I know they're more prevalent now than when I played, 5, 6 years.
Yeah, because they're starting to do their own Milsim kind of things now too with those.
Nice those events.
Yeah, we didn't have that. I was playing paintball from '94 till like 2002 or so, and we never heard of. I mean, we made our own, Milsim, like capture the flag or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah.
We were just playing somebody's woods, but and we went to some speedball, places and stuff. But the MagFed stuff, man, I've seen some videos on that. They're starting to do like full Milsim kind of things.
Yeah, those like a lot of fun too. I would love to go. I would again. I'm not going to go invest thousands of dollars into freaking MagFed paintball guns now, even though as much as I want.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where, in all honesty, that is the evolution of this, because now your mags are holding 30 rounds. You know what I mean? Maybe if you get a mid cap that's bigger, you can hold maybe a 50 or something like that if they spin around or whatever. But now you're marking targets. You have heavier weight, or shooting harder. You have restrictions that are analog to real life. And just like, and you also have the gas, which is, I hate the freaking gas system and whatnot. But, if people love HPA and gas blowbacks, I want to get one. I think they're going to be super cool and fun. But I still think electric is, it's the all season way.
Yeah. What is your, so why don't you like the HPAs?
Okay, so the tube in the tank thing I did during paintball and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of the air tube in the tank. We also we are people that fly instead of drive to places. Taking tanks is a real pain in the ass. You have to rent ones like that and reconnect it. If you have an issue with an AEG, typically you can dislodge, fix, replace very cheap. If you have an issue with an HBA or GGBBR, you are going to have either a broken sealer, or broken valve, broken gasket that you are not fixing that day, and you're going to be out of gun. Yeah. So it's, to me, HBAs, they say you can adjust things on the fly. The parts seem definitely more durable, and they're more analog, things like that, to real guns and stuff, because you can get the actions and all that. Yes, that is cool. That is awesome, and they are great to run. I see people run them. They're tons of fun. They make a cool noise. However, like us, we are, say starting out, but we have kind of maxed out our electric kit. We are Milsim players. We have everything we need to play Milsim, and really high quality stuff, things like that. And we play it for a while. Gas blowback, stuff like that, are what you get into kind of would be like our next step. I would feel like, say somebody wanted to get into gas blowbacks, I'll play airsoft. Don't buy a gas blowback rifle. Don't buy an HPA rifle. Go get an electric, run that, know what you like, get used to it. So when your HPA inevitably breaks or it doesn't work in the weather you're playing in, you actually have a good gun that you can fall back at that's going to be better, if not, as good, if not better than that other HPA. And a lot of Milsim events, at least the ones that are out here, sometimes they're ones that are kind of more makeshift. They don't have like the gas hookups for compressing air and things like that, or they don't like a fender out there. Except for those are like it's a whole different baby that has a whole different set of problems that unless you do it really right, is just a pain in the ass. At least from what I've heard. But when you get it right, there's no going back. Yeah. Right. But again, we started playing seriously with investing, have like good money and things like that, and traveling and stuff like into airsoft somewhat recently. So we have not gotten to that part where I can say, okay, I have an HPA, I have a GBBR rifle. Here's why I love it and don't love it. I just know that it's not a good place to start, even if you want to go professional or go like travel around and spend a lot of money in the hobby. You don't want to rely on that. If you're putting we're spending $2,000 to go to this, to go to Firestorm, Firestorm 3, and just to get there, right, and stay there and stuff like that, and to get back. Well, imagine going there and having your gun fail because you only fit somebody in the airplane with you. So if you have HBA or if you have one of those things die, now you're spending your $2,000 plus ticket and things like that using a gun you don't want to freaking use. That's your secondary and stuff like that, and it sucks because which mind you, there's not been a single weekend we've ever gone and played anywhere where there weren't a handful of people and that exact same problem. Had to go either rent a gun, or had to go spend half the day fixing their gun, and it didn't run as well as it was, or it was too cold, or it was too hot, and O-ring broke or cracked or whatever stupid thing, and then you have to go take the whole thing apart to get it one apart, get diagnose it and test all the parts, put it back together, tune it all back up and things like that. Oh, my bucking's bad. Pin, boom. Out goes the barrel. New bucking, boom, bam, let's go. Which is, again, 90% of your problems with one of these is your bucking split.
Dude, right? I can't tell you how many people I talked with that have been playing for years, and they use they use AGs, but they'll take 4, 5, 6 guns to a Milsim.
Yeah,
so
we take all of our guns.
Their backups, and then their friends if they're but like it's I guess it's so expected in airsoft that your gun's going to break on the field. And I always wondered, I ask this question all the time. Mm-hmm. I've asked it numerous times on these podcasts with a bunch of different people. Why is it, what I've seen from the outside looking in, why are airsofters, people that get into airsoft and they really love it and they start getting, more expensive guns, they'll spend $200 plus, $300 plus on a gun and they expect it to break. And I'm going, bro, I can buy a fucking 9mm, Smith & Wesson shield for $280. The fucker will never fucking break. Okay? I just, and if it did break within the first, 5 times I used it, we would be pissed. Okay? We would be pissed. But airsofters are all like, oh yeah, it's a $300 gun. Yeah, of course it's going to break on the field. I'm like, what the fuck? Where's the standards? Why is all the airsofters just like accepting of everything breaking?
Oh yeah,
I don't get it.
Let me. Here's my 2 cents, and then we come back.
He's slowly just going to accumulate everything that we have in the front of the house.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, in the meantime, we can. You and I can talk because. So did you get an airsoft because of him? And now, are you guys on a team? Just recent, you said.
Yeah. So recently, we still need to. We finished our probation with them. I think we're about to get patched in at Firestorm. Will you be at Firestorm, by the way? Will we see you at Firestorm 3?
Firestorm?
Firestorm.
Is that the Lion Claws one in South Carolina?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. Well, a friend of mine who's actually been on a few videos in our channel, he lives like 30 minutes away. He's been trying to talk me. We actually went and scoped out the site because we were down there.
Really?
So we went and scoped out the site because he's going. So if I go, it'll be as a press. I'll get a press pass But
Do
so
it.
yeah,
But you
I
should.
am not fit for duty on the field.
Oh,
It,
No.
I don't travel very fast or far
gotcha.
before my legs are like fuck you. So
Oh no.
um,
Oh,
yeah, it's just leftover shit from what I had before. But anyway, I will go, or I would think about going, and if I do, it's going to be to film all you all.
Hell
oh
yeah.
that would be so cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But we're from Lucifer's Wolves,
Yeah, Lucifer's Wolves. Yeah.
and a lot of them
What is
like
it called?
run out of Lucifer's Wolves.
Yeah.
A
Oh,
lot
okay.
of them run out of
Big team around the country.
Florida. A bunch of us are at.
Yeah, Florida, South Carolina.
We have
One, two in
some
Chicago.
us.
Thing.
We're some of the.
Is that in September? Firestorm?
That's this month. That's the 24, 25.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You should get your present.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will.
It's down the street from me. We have
I
to
mean-
pay $2,000 to get down there. It's in your backyard, you bastard.
Bro, it's like it's 2 hours from me. It's not even 2 hours from me.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not crying. I'm saying, hey, that's close.
Yeah, it's a cool event. And last time it'll be at this AO. It's the only time they'll be able to do it because someone's taking it over, and it'll be
Yeah.
the only time it'll be ever done like this. So it's a one and done
It's
AO.
gonna be done after this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to use your little MilFinder site
No,
and
it's the sponsored event.
MilsimFinder. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll have to use that and look up the tickets, whatever, and see what.
Yep.
So the reason why I left and come back is that yes, airsoft guns. You can look at the physics of it. You can buy a SEMA or like a Lance Tactical, things like that. It'll shoot the same as VFC, whatever the hell it is. And in terms of physics, it'll shoot damn near almost exactly the same as the other ones. Now, the thing is when you go and you say, oh, okay, I'm going to get a $300 Lens Tactical or $250 Lens Tactical, yes, it's going to break in the field. Well, there's that. And then there's like one of these guys, like a Samurai's Edge. I think these retailer, I think they're $7.99 retail. And then the SR15, $5.99 retail, stuff like that. They are made with, the intention of, a gun will shoot accurate. We can increase the accuracy, great, let's do that. But then the gun itself is manufactured with smaller tolerances and higher quality parts, and oftentimes even freaking support if you don't modify it.
Gotcha.
You can have warranty on the thing. But the idea is I feel like there's nothing wrong where if somebody wants to say, okay, I want to get a gun, if it breaks in the field, just buy a new one. Because you're spending $250 on a gun, you want to spend, like this one here, $250 on a $250 gun to make it shoot like one of these guys, right? So you want to just use the gun, shoot it. If the 1 inch difference in BB spread at X amount of feet means nothing to you, yeah, get a cheap gun, use it until it breaks, freaking give it to a junkyard, make some bucks off it, you trade in a broken gun, you can get it towards, it's like, you use a car, you go to a gun store, hey, this gun doesn't work, but here all the furniture
Here's
that
all the
does.
pieces.
Yeah, we'll give you $20 off or whatever on the shelf, and there you go. And I know people that do that. That's the way of doing it.
Gotcha.
But that's also how I used to think when I was younger, and how I had a bunch of broken shit growing up is because, I used to buy cheap and replace all the time. And with airsoft, I have found that you're more respectful to the craft if you spend more. Again, it's like if you spend a lot of money on something, like we're gonna take care of this, right? And if it breaks,
Buy once, cry once, kind of thing.
Exactly. One of the things where this is a future forward platform, right? Where you don't need anything in it. The Samurai Edge, everything inside of it's done. It's maxed out, gate, tighten, everything like that. Type bore barrel. It shoots unbelievable out the box, right? But it also has a limited warranty out the box too, which is nice.
Right. So it'll shoot more BBs for longer.
Exactly.
Longer period of time. You'll get more use out of it than the other one.
Yep, they're both VFCs, things like that. So the parts are available everywhere for them, things like that. And that's just the way we wanted to go about it. But if people want to have a bunch of guns and just shoot them and just wait till they break and get another one, that's one way of going about it. But it's that goes back to the psychological thing I meant before, where how can I get into this hobby and sport? Like we got into Pokemon 7 months ago. Now we have $30,000 of products in our bedroom. So it's how can we get into this sport, be competitive, and not have to have 50 guns on our wall, right? because it gets addictive. So we figured, okay, if we took the psychological path of let's get the best thing we could possibly get and spend our money on, and like cherish it, right? We're not going to want to get other things apart from the other weapon classes. Like we have, the SMGs, we have the Chris Vector for full auto play. If a place allows full auto at 1 or 1.2 joules, we have those. These are main primaries.
Things for kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You can still get those things, but
Yeah.
your big hunks of money are already done and out.
Yeah.
Of the way.
Because
it's going to
Yeah.
be reliable, and if it breaks,
going back,
you fix that one piece.
Going back to video game
Right.
too, is you'll see everybody has all these fun guns, right? Things like that. And just like in video game logic, what's the most commonly used gun? The most powerful one. That's how, if there's a way, if there's something that can be abused and it was the ultimate form of destruction or ends to a means, well, that's going to be abused, right? So the idea is that
Right.
if we can get guns, that it would be extremely hard for us to we can't go online or build a gun that's probably going to shoot better than this or hers. Like there's simply put to physics defined in the limitations of which we have with 1.5 joules, you can't improve these anymore. I mean, simply put. So now, why would we want to go buy another gun? It's like spending $500 to get an incremental upgrade every single time. Eventually, you're 10 grand in the hole, and you're still not really satisfied yet because you're constantly incrementing. So we said, fuck it, let's go 0 to 100 because this is a game where it's more about we want to be more about our skill than the gun's fault.
Right.
We can eliminate the gun as being as accurate and as good as we can. We're playing against people that are combat veterans, take this very seriously. And we fuck with them. We want our competency to be what they're facing, not who's as well. My gun's having problems, doesn't shoot really well. Oh, you got me because I'm another place. Well, no. I know where I'm shooting. I know what I'm doing. You're playing against me, not against my gun.
Right.
Because I know this will do what I want it to do. Now it's you and me.
Tactics.
Yeah.
Right.
People out there smacking the guns and spraying and stuff like that. The biggest issue I find too is in Milsim events and things like that is people shooting BBs and they're not actually reaching, but they think they are. Right.
Yeah.
That is, they don't know their engagement distance. So if you can, just like these guns here, with a very high end hop, the biggest thing, a high end or a good high end, but like a refined hop, because trust me, the plastic G&G hops are unbelievable, like $10. They'll smoke a max hop in most cases because it's the exact same thing, and it costs tenth of a fifth of the price. Right? They're really well designed. But then it comes to weather and plastic stuff like that. So metal is the benefits of it. But anyway, again, go for durability. When you upgrade a gun, go for durability and to increase its performance. If you can get higher FPS, you get max out your jewel rating, max out 1.5 joules. From there, just go durability. If you know swapping out a barrel or a buck, you can usually make that difference. And then just durable barrel, more durable, whatever the hell it is, trying to make it better because it's already good enough. But the idea is that if you're gonna go and upgrade your stuff, I'm trying to remember what I was saying before. If you're gonna upgrade your stuff, do it in a way where, if you buy a nice gun now, like these Samurai's Edges, funny enough, if you want to buy one of these things used, you're spending maybe a little less, not the same as his retail, because they're, it's a limited gun that's, has maxed out and is high sought after. And it's like, oh, this is the best thing VFC makes for an AAG. It's this right here. I want to sell this. I bought it used. You know what I mean? Like this guy put this thing up there and many messages. I was like, listen, I paid the most and I got it. But, most people would say, oh yeah, you can't really resell airsoft shit. Yeah, if you're buying Lancer Tacticals, you're not. If you're buying, entry level GNGs, swap meets, things like that. They're tried and true guns or whatnot, but like typically you have to take a huge hit on it. These here, the idea is, listen, if you buy this used, say this is like, it's like $800 new, whatever it is, like that. All the parts inside of it, they make $800 value. That's why the SSR 15 is a good value. $700, you get like $900 of parts in this thing, basically. But you can say, oh yeah, you can buy that GNG or the ARP, whatever, the 9 or something like that, and some sort of, normal gun, Or you can buy this for a couple $100 more than that, or $300 more than that, and not have to go spend your eventual $500 upgrades that this one has that doesn't have, right?
Yeah.
You buy it at a discount, you can sell it at a discount, but you have more features. That's the same principle as if you're buying a used car, always buy the maxed out trim you can afford. It's better to buy like a Sentra with maxed out trim than an Ultima with a base model, because when you're buying a used car, creature comfort simply win people over and add value to a car because, well, now you have a nicer car, but it's the same exact car, but this one's nicer, right? Same chassis, same engine, whatever the hell it is, but you have more features. Well, that one's going to sell. So Airsoft the same way. If you want to buy something, you want to resell it or try something, either go really cheap and try it or rent a gun, or get something nice, cherish it. So, hey, I spent all this money, I might as well go play, right? It incentivizes you to play. You take care of it, you clean it. Most people don't. You put up on a wall because it looks really nice. It's a prime piece. You go there, it's like, oh my God, is that an average gun? Oh my God, is that Samurai's Edge? I've always wanted to see. I want to shoot one of these things. It's yeah, exactly. Yeah, like there's the Parent Tactical, the Combat Master, stuff like that.
Combat Master. Yeah,
have fun. Have fun, and if people can see you having fun, they're gonna have fun too. They want to hang out with you. Just like in music, everything I do, it's all about networking with people and how can I connect with somebody. This is a tool that I'm spending a bunch of money on. Do I need to spend a bunch of money on it? No, but do I want to have the competitive respect to know that any fault that was given was mine and not because of my equipment? That makes me a better player. That makes me more reliable. That makes me more accurate. That makes me more dependable to somebody who is trying to get back that feeling of I was in Afghanistan, shot at, and I can never outlive the time where I saw a kid die, and I'm back home and now I can't readjust because that unbelievable high. Those people go play Airsoft, again, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not one of them, but I play with them, that go and they expect to depend on you in a fun game as they did their partners in their real life environment that they were in before that caused them to be in that situation.
Absolutely. Well, the guy the podcast that just came out early this week, Hale, Airsoft. Yeah. He's a combat vet. Was in the Army for 6 years. Mm-hmm. He uses Airsoft as therapy. I've met a handful of people like that.
And it's the reason.
It helps them deal with right. That's a big thing. But I was going to ask you guys, how did you get on your team that you guys are a part of now?
Played really, really well when they were playing and trying out. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
The same place, same time. Like, wow, you guys are really good. You guys, but in our team, you guys are communicating, you're yelling back and forth, you're getting I trust her, she trusts me. Yeah. Because again, probably by herself, you would just be any other Joe Schmo just shooting out there and stuff like that. Well, she's a girl with a really good shot, so obviously, 1 in a million for Airsoft. But
you mean girls play Airsoft? What?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my God. The first Milsim that we went to, I even reached out to our team captain, and I was like, hey, there's actually girls at this event. She's like, oh my God, how many? And I was like, I think there's probably about 200 people here, and there's actually there's 3 other girls. She's like, wow, that's a lot. It was like, yeah, I didn't expect to see any. It's just.
But essentially, it was a circumstance, and we perform well, communicate well, and again, we went into play with the intent to let's go travel, and because her and I, we're a couple. I work here all the time. She works. We heard things, so we're homebodies. And we're constantly people book me, so I get booked. So the people determine when I'm working, basically, right? I can say, I'm not working, then I can take my time off. I work for myself. Yeah. But with that said, it's when you're self motivated, it's hard to then stop being self motivated in that way, where it's like, okay, well, if I'm constantly making money and working people, helping their lives, their business, things like that, it's hard to stop going on vacation. So the idea is that okay, we have this, we have Pokemon, and I'll get to that in a second. But Airsoft, though, allows us to have a unique experience. That, okay, what we not like that people, let's be better than our friends or some shit like that. But our friends, they go, they go to Miami, they go to LA, let's go to Costa Rica or some shit, right? Some whatever place that accepts American licenses as passports, something like that. And that's cool, and it's fun, you're relaxing and stuff like that. But then it's like, I can do that when I'm 70, Yeah. I want let's do something that what's the most extreme thing? I want to go skydiving. I want to go paragliding, things like that. Paramotoring and stuff, all that stuff. So if we're gonna go out, if I'm taking time off of work, we're gonna go do something. What's the most, again, as an opportunist, as an entrepreneur, what's the most fun we could possibly have for our time and money? Well, she's a damn good shot and loves to shoot shit. And I was a big paintball guy and a big tactical guy, and I'm all about team tactical sports. I don't like to let's go shoot. No, I like to. What gets me off is sneaking through enemy lines and then taking somebody. That's what gets me off. Not Ramboing out there and shooting a bunch of shit. I like to not be seen, and it's all for me. It's all mind games. I like to fuck with my enemy. I like to to. I said before, how can you be out in the open and nobody see you, right?
Yeah.
And that's
wear your boxers.
Yeah, exactly. There's something where it's like, how can you outsmart the enemy?
He's also a pretty tall guy. He's 6'2".
Yeah, I'm 6'2",
so he kind of stands out. Whereas I stand at 5'8".
Yeah.
And I'm kind of petite. So for me, it's a lot easier to tuck in.
Yeah.
And just be very small and not notice.
She can fit behind the barrel. Yeah.
So while he's like out here, drawing more attention, but just picking them off, it gives me a much easier time to just push for, grab 2 or 3 guys like, hey, you two, you're coming with me. And they're like, what do we do? He's covering us. We're pushing up. Pushing, we'll start to clear it out and bringing it up behind us, like covering our back. So we're slowly just clearing them out.
One of the things too that's like, that speaking of that, doing things like using like my size to advantage her size to advantage, things like that is the paintball. One of the things that's always fun to do is when you're so a little trick here. It's not as useful in airsoft because of the impact noise, but it's one thing to do in paintball, right? It's a little pro tip is when you're snapping and shooting somebody, right? Everybody has their finger walking pattern. They'll send 5 or 6 shots out, 7 shots out, things like that, right? In a certain, they'll randomize it, right? So they can't snap out and whatnot. But typically, people don't realize it. Somebody's snap fire, like their tend to hit fire, is different pattern than somebody's cover fire. Somebody wants to cover fire, they're going to shoot in a different pattern. They would be actually trying to shoot you and get you out, right? Or protect themselves. So the idea is that if you can condition somebody to understand a snapping pattern. Okay, these guys shooting me, bum, bum, bum. He's hitting me on this spot here, but then you can tell, ping, 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 all over the place, random shots. Oh, they're cover firing. No one's actually shooting at me. I can actually go and hit this guy because no one's aiming at me right now. But if you can condition somebody to know I see you shot, but then you can walk it. So the idea is that, so essentially, one of the things I did in the last couple of games heavily was a bunch of guys pinned down like a the best one is shipping containers. Shipping containers are very loud to shoot. So that you can really, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Then you all of a sudden hear, okay, that's cover fire. You can hop out and get those guys. They're running right now. But the idea is that if you can maintain that rhythm, you can walk till you're like dead smack, like 15 feet in front of them, be like, yo, bang, bang, you're out.
Yep.
Because they think you're still all the way back there. They're trying to not have them peek their heads out, right? So once again, you're not trying to kill the enemy, but you are allowing your entire team to make advancements that they are not seeing because they think you're just a guy there. This guy's pinned down. No. They're traveling. When someone's pinned, assume that you're in one spot, folk waiting for them to pop out to get shot. No, I don't care if you get shot or not. I want you to not see what's happening.
Yep.
That's my goal. And I want you to basically think that I'm over there, but now over here to your left. So when I stop shooting, you're going to go, I'm just going to on the side. Again, our enemies get shot on the side. Ping, ping, one shot, and stuff like that. And that's what.
That sounds cool, man. Do you guys have a YouTube channel that you post these on? Do you have gameplay?
A lot of footage.
Because I didn't see a listing on your Instagram.
A lot of footage, but we haven't really started to pull a lot of that.
I have a lot of footage on the GoPros and stuff.
That is something that is going to be.
Firestorm, we should be the change because we have more. There's a bunch of us in the team. They're bringing cameras. I'm bringing my drone, things like that. We're going to film it. We're going to probably make it.
So that's to be able to put together. Plus, now we've got our guns. It way more refined and only down. So that's not even something we really have to put any thought into because it's just we've already planned for it.
Oh yeah. So we want to get the content, but what might come first are like small tidbits, like stories, things like that. Maybe we'll make a channel, like an Instagram channel for MilsimFinder or whatever. We have the YouTube page already, and then we'll do Milsim tips, 30-second videos where it's like, why I just said, if you want to get across the field and not be detected, what an enemy is looking for. They're looking for someone looking at them, for things pointing at them, they're looking for things engaging at them. Act casual, walk backwards, walk sideways, keep your gun down, don't look threatening. Keep all your body language as calm and nice as possible because the idea is you're not a threat. In a pinch, you're not going to engage, the attention of the enemy where, oh my God, threat is looking at me, right? You're in the peripheral, It'll be somewhere where they're not engaging and not expecting any attacks or sharp sudden movements. Be super smooth. Walk in a very unpredictable way. Why would somebody be there? Well, guess what? That's a great place for you to be then, right? It's like it would make no sense for someone to be there because we can get them out so easily. Well, it'd be a great place for you to be because that's the first place they expect you to be. So you wouldn't be there because don't forget, you're playing against people that are competent. That's the thing, and people, jokes, things like that. No, they're not. Well, you're playing speeds off of teenagers and you're playing a Milsim event with combat veterans. You're playing against people who are thinking about your thinking.
Yep.
So you need to think about, they're thinking about your thinking. So what are they thinking that I'm thinking about, right? And how are they going to analyze what my moves be? It's just like chess. I played chess like 3 times a day, every fucking day when I lived in Amsterdam. I was talking about chess tables, and I would go and smoke some weed and play some chess. And I challenge people all over the country to be walking by and stuff like that. You just be having a great old time. Just like chess. Chess is a game not about the pieces, about the strategy. It's about understanding how your opponent thinks. If you can learn from their first part of the game, how they move, what their tactics are, how do they preserve themselves, and how do they act offensively. If you can predict what their moves are going to be, what their potential moves could be, well, then you can circumvent your way around that. Milsims are no different, and it's the same way. It's gun engagements. You're protecting your life. You don't give a rat's ass about anything else. You just want to not get shot because you don't want to get shot, right?
Right.
So that's your intention. That's your goal, is to not get shot. So if you're a self-preservative and you're not a ballsy player, where can you go in the visible space that I'm at right now that I can observe that would help retain your goal? Because some people, like my friend who was here last time, he had the drum mag one. He was freaking Leroy Jenkins the whole time, running on there, having fun, just get shot. Oh, God damn it!
Yeah.
But that's also their strategy. Their way of preservation is to get more outs. How can I get more people out, and how can I, in the most extreme or like intense way I can, because they're adrenaline junkies and they want to just get seen. Well, now, if I were that person, where would they go? Where that person like to be, and where can I, okay, if I'm here, I can throw a grenade there and get them out in a blast radius, because if they're going to be fast and running, I have to hit a moving target now at a distance. Well, if I have a blast radius of 20 feet and a grenade, now it's time to think about having that, and I'll have a grenade. What I typically do too, since I'm here, my finger here, I have a grenade I can demonstrate, but I'll just show you for the time being. So in a situation where I'm having to engage certain targets here, and having to protect my back or something on the side or a flank where might be some ballsy enemies or like a choke point somewhere, is what I'll do is I'll have my hand on my gun here, and I have a grenade through the pin on my finger here.
Gotcha.
And I have a grenade on my finger here, and it's being basically straddled in my hand, kind of like I have to hold the bottom of it. It works where it doesn't rattle around. I hold it in my finger. So I have my hop up, right? So I have my hop up. I have my grenade in my hand here held. I can still, I can still drop mags and load things like that. I can drop the mag and I can load my right hands up like that. But the idea is that if that were to happen, right? It just pulls around.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
So I'm watching this guy here. I know the guy's coming on the side there. I can keep covering down, and not ever have to move or break my sight.
That's cool.
So finger on hop up.
What grenade?
Yeah,
what grenade you guys use?
Normal F-67s, the Enola Gay ones that you just get the parks, because if we fly one up, we have to get what's usually available.
Yeah.
So it's like typically
Gotcha.
It's available. We don't have any reasonable ones yet because of the nature of how I play and how I try to go somewhere and then get gone. Recovering expensive grenades is not going to be an option. So
no,
I got to use disposables. Yeah.
Right. Have you ever tried tag-ins?
Yeah, tag-ins. I've thrown a couple of those, and those are terrifying, but they're also hard to find. So if we had an option, fuck yeah, bigger bang, let's do it. But again, we get what's available because whether it's a big bang or not, it's still a 20 feet blast radius. So,
have you ever tried the tag-in launcher?
No, I've been
the Reaper round.
I want one so bad.
It is a constant battle of, babe, we need a grenade.
Yes.
Do we? He's like, it's a necessity. I'm like, is it a necessity? He's like, we can totally find a way to justify this for a music video. It's like,
dude.
Okay, but
yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, you would love it. What's your name again?
Grace and Ryan.
I know Grace and what?
Ryan.
Oh, Ryan. Okay, Ryan, you would love it because this thing, as far as physics, bro, it's rifled. Okay.
Oh yeah, and you guys got perfect.
It shoots
tons of videos of them, tons and tons.
Dude, it shoots so flat. It
You're,
is
you're saying the standalone launcher, like the one that the side
actual launcher. Yes.
not the attachment piece.
That thing is badass. We have we made a video on it on our channel, and it shoots. I had no idea what this thing was. Okay, like I'm like, oh, this thing ain't gonna shoot that far. It's fucking airsoft grenade. What's it gonna do?
Boom.
I'm not kidding. Well, and two of my sons were like, no. We've seen these at Milsims. They shoot really far. I'm like, bullshit. Come on. Like, I'm on camera saying this stuff. I'm like totally making myself look like an idiot. And I'm like, the first dummy round he shot, we were almost a football field away. And, well, not quite, maybe 70 yards. Well, this thing goes through the tarp, into the woods, into the fucking kudzu, like gone. I mean, such a straight shot. You could see me on camera go, oh my God. So,
yeah.
oh, dude. Well, then we had a couple Reaper rounds as well. And I was super impressed. But yeah, those things are fun for sure.
Oh my God.
We definitely love the use of it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I will
never I can buy them and I'll go buy them right now. It's just,
if you could just, like if because you like to sneak or whatever, but one of those days you're going to be like, man, I don't feel like sneaking. I want to blow some motherfuckers up.
Oh, no,
yeah. I love blowing shit up. Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
I will not forget the first time I used a grenade because I was like, man, this is going to be so cool when I do it. We were trying to rush this castle. They were like, we need to take back this castle because we needed the main one.
She really
we have like this little one that's a big one.
Cheater.
There's
amazing.
Two guys in there that are just cheating fucking. Like, I have watched 4 of my teammates try and charge in here, emptying mags on this guy. It's not going to hit.
I call myself out because I hit him.
He's still charging and shooting them. Now they're trying to like.
This is what she's saying. It's just crazy.
Stop. Like, I'm not going to deal with fighting with this. It's not worth arguing that he's being a cheater. I'm just out. I'm going to wait my time. It's like my first hit, whatever. But I'm sitting here going, okay, you just like took out 6 of my guys. And you're cheating. I've watched you get hit like in your fingers. You just caressed your hand because you got hit with little fingies. Like, you definitely got hit, my guy. So I'm like, okay. So I'm sneaking up and I get to like the corner of the doorway and I have a dead guy standing right here. And you're not supposed to talk when you're dead. But this guy's a cheating asshole. So my guy is like, he's looking inside and looking at me, looking inside, looking at me. And he's like, so I just take the grenade and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be the first time I'm throwing a grenade. I know there's a ref in here, but like, he's not leaving. They know I'm coming. So I pop the pin, bake it for a second, and just chuck it around the corner. And you just heard 2 very low, boom. This guy still didn't admit that he was freaking out.
Oh my God.
So I went around the corner and I start lighting him up. Because it's like, okay, you're still going to shoot at me? This is a full auto moment.
Grenades can't.
For real.
This is full auto. Okay, he shot me a bunch of times, so I'm shooting back. And I may or may not have aimed a little bit low just to kind of really sink it in. Because he called
Nut shot.
He called me an effing C, and it's, I don't know if you have to like worry about censorship on this, but I mean, he's calling me a fucking cunt, and it's like, okay, no, you're getting shot in the dick, buddy. You've been grenaded. You've had like 3 mags emptied on you.
Why is he calling you a fucking cunt?
Because I blew him up.
Because you got him?
And he's determined to stay there. And it's like, no, you're going to die.
Oh my God.
He's the guy who plays the Milsim game with a dye mask. Put it that way.
Yes.
In black.
Yes.
Yeah.
How dare you make fun of that?
And then after he's dead, right? He admits he's dead. He pulls out his dead rag. When I'm leaving with my team, he decides to just come out and he started shooting the dead with like their dead rags. And then he just starts actively shooting. It's like, do you need me to come back there and finish teaching a lesson or something? Like, what did we not learn from this experience? You're dead right now.
Oh my God.
You're gunned down, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of sneaking, yes, but man, if I see you really starting to just pick on my team,
yeah, for sure.
Sneaking is on stand.
You're done.
Mm-hmm.
Sneaking is on stand because for me, he has a lot of his tactics and how he likes to play that he's talked about. But for me, a lot of my time in shooting has either been, I did martial arts for a long time, and I learned that from a lot of retired military servicemen, a lot of different branches. So they tried to instill a lot of that tactic for me. And I found that fun. I was like, okay, trying to think like the other guy or think faster and better than the other guy. But when I started getting into video games, it's like, okay, yes, I love a first-person shooter game. I love going around and doing the objectives and completing the mission. But like, that's only fun for so long. What I really enjoy is I'll still be playing that same game, but I'll be playing with my friends in a custom lobby where we're making the rules. It's like, okay, it's now I'm going to pick like 2 or 3 people. I'm specifically going after them. I'm going to avoid everybody else. I just want those 3 people. I'm going to figure out how I can outsmart them. And that's similar to him. Yeah. That's where I get it. It's like, okay, how can we just go and start picking you off to where you're wondering, where is she coming from? Where was she? Because as a woman in Airsoft, I have been given a decent amount of crap, in your loading bays or, when you're back getting food and you're like, oh, you're a freaking girl, you suck. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to hit me. And it's like, okay, keep shit talking, buddy. It's whatever. But like, if they get really adamant, it's like, okay, when you get shot in the butt later, you look in the direction that you got shot and look for the person waving at you. I'm going to wave when I shoot you in the butt. And they're like, yeah, whatever. You're not going to do that. Did that the first Milsim we played. And later I was like, did you see me wave? And they're like, that was you. Like, yeah, I told you.
Oh, that's awesome.
I told you I was going to do it. Don't pick on me just because I'm a girl. Let women play Airsoft.
Of course. Now, are you part of that FTW? Have you heard of that?
I have heard of it. I'm not a specific part of them yet, but I am friends with 4 or 5 of the women who are. And once we have a lot more, content that's coming out. No, not from FTW. I have stuff from Lady Killer Airsoft.
Lady Killer Airsoft.
And that's a Canadian lady-owned Airsoft brand. She does a lot of cording, straps. She does patches. It's really high quality stuff. Absolutely love it.
I've seen that.
Be in Canada right now too. Scary time to be an airsofter in Canada. Right now.
They just changed a lot of their laws.
Yeah, they're trying to ban. Obviously their weapon sales, but also look-alike weapons.
Yeah. So
airsoft
like
guns,
that came up last year or a couple years ago in Canada as well. They thought they were going to ban it all.
Yeah, they're pushing.
They're pushing it again.
Supposedly right now.
Again, and they're not going to allow things to move through there either.
Yeah, there's a lot of manufacturers and whatnot. So hopefully that's. See, my political views are: is I want my gay transsexual weed farmers to defend their crops with guns.
There you go. That's a great statement.
Yes.
That combines all that shit.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here you go, everybody.
Can we just have freedom? Okay.
Transsexual weed farmers can defend their crops with automatic weapons.
Freedom and rights.
100%. Exactly. Like, I 100% agree. Like, just let people do what they want to do. If they're not hurting someone else, let them be.
Exactly.
Okay?
And if it's going to be allowed, great. Make rules and laws to help regulate it, and then uphold laws.
And unfortunately, due to where I've lived throughout my life, having universal free healthcare is also very nice. Yeah, being able to walk into a hospital. I was in Holland. I had like a health, a flu, and I had almost broke my ankle. I walked into a hospital, treated me, gave medication, everything like that. Didn't even give them my license or an ID. They asked me who my name was, but never looked at an ID. Just walked in there, treated me, I left, and not pay a single dollar. That's bad. I like that, especially if you play airsoft and you get busted. If you just walk in the hotel, not worry about being billed for it. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
So convenient.
Yeah. No. Whatever party pushes for that, I'm happy. I'm going for it.
Well, I was going to ask you, you said something earlier about, and I know this is kind of changing gears, but you said something about Pokemon that you want to get into that.
Yeah. So one of the ways we can feed our addictions is so. Again, so I'm an entrepreneur. So the idea is that, if I have a passion or a hobby in something like that, I want to be able to enjoy it to its fullest, make money off it, and actually have it be anything that doesn't, cut my productivity. Like I want to spend my time on something. Let's make it benefit myself, my family, and whoever else, I'd be fine right now. Yeah, there's too much to grab. Yeah, we have a whole storage room full of Pokemon stuff. But the idea is that, so, the one of the best beauties in the world is compound interest, right? So the idea is that there's very few things out there that you can buy that will retain what's that? That will retain a set value and never go beneath it. There's a few things out there. There's like very very few things out there, and even gold, silver, currencies, whatever, they can decrease in value, diminish in value. Historically speaking and statistically speaking, one of the weirdest phenomenons in consumerism is sealed Pokemon products. In the 25 years they've been around, have not had a time where a retail product had come out, especially like packs and whatnot, and ever sold less than the suggested retail price of that product. So hypothetically, if you had, your money in a savings account for, 5 years, something like that, right? And the dollar, inflation takes place, right? And your interest on and savings account is not going to be anywhere near inflation, right? It's going to be a third of that, so you're losing money. If you're to buy all that money in Pokemon packs, for example, sealed Pokemon packs, and you're to wait the same 10 years, you would have had approximately, at this rate, approximately almost an 800 to 1,000% increase in value of that money you put in those packs.
Which is fairly ridiculous.
It's weird things, even economists and investors, things like that, they'd be like, yeah, there's very few things you can buy physically that retain value and will get only in the existence of the game, or the existing of this product sector existing has not gone down in value. So now cards are different. If you open up a pack, you have a card. Oh, you have a Charizard. It's worth $1,000. That could be $500 next month. That could be $2,000 next month. There's a lot of speculation there, but it's a weird phenomenon that, due to the printing nature of how Pokemon works, and how it is, it's the most valuable brand in the world. But more above Coke and things like that, like brand names. And
Wow.
Value, yeah. So yeah, from the last I've known, it's still the most valuable brand in the world.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and because of that and this massive popularity, you can go and buy sealed Pokemon product, and in within 3 to 6 months, you can pull at least 20% profit on that at minimum. Like usually, you buy it and you go online and sell 20% right away.
Yeah.
A lot of things, you can buy certain things. You buy certain things you don't buy. But the idea is, if you store some value in these Pokemon products, and you flip them, the idea is that if you could take $500, or say, let's make it $100, and you were to buy $100 of the Pokemon product, and in a month you were to sell those products for 20% more than their value, $20. The next month you buy $120 for Pokemon, the same exact product, but whatever the season is at the time, you sell it the next month, $144, $196, $200, blah, blah, blah. You keep going up, right? It keeps adding up. And the idea is, if with certain products you can buy, you can sell at scale pretty easily. So if I have $1,000 of product, it's almost as easy to sell as $100 of product. It just depends on how you put it. If you buy products for 6 months in Pokemon, right? You buy $500 every single month, or $1,000 every single month of Pokemon product, and then on that 6th month, you were to sell that first month's product at the current market price. And then that money you buy again, you almost like a wine, like a winery. You make 2 years with a wine, and you start selling. So every time you sell wine, you have 2-year-old age wine. It's competitive,
Right.
And it's like the Pokemon. You have now compounding interest. And the idea is, if you start with $1,000 at the end of 2 years, you have something like $190,000 that's compounded by that point. If you do the 20% method, which typically you can sell for a lot more than that. So the longer you wait, so if you buy more products, so you buy 12 months of product. 12 months you sell that first month of product, you're selling it for at a 50 to 120% margin. Because usually, if you get holiday sets, if you buy the right stuff that they don't reprint very often, people are willing to pay double pretty damn quickly for that stuff. So now you're doubling your money and rebuying constantly. You're constantly compounding interest, and the more you sell, the quicker you sell it, the more you can put back into it. And if you keep doing it at the minimum 20% margin, you make a fuck ton of money now. There's a lot of YouTubers out there, airsofters, whatnot. People that do hobbyist YouTubers, is typically the principle is how they do stuff in order to kind of fund that lifestyle. So, okay, if I'm in airsoft, well, I'm going to start buying retail products of airsoft. And what the people do now is they'll buy, they'll get a wholesaler license, and they'll buy a bunch of a gun that they know is going to sell out and only making a certain amount of right away, and sit on them for a bit, right? So I'm going to go buy 10, M249s, right? That are hard to come by new. right? Like, like the full metal ones. I think was it Cyber Gun? I forgot. Somebody made a 249 that was all metal. It was amazing. Everyone loves it, and it's like the one that they don't make them anymore, and they sell for a lot of money. To buy 10 of those, they'll sell 5 or 6 of them. They'll sit on the 5 or 6 for 6 months or a year. They'll put them on our website, and they'll sell for like twice as much, or they'll modify them and sell for even more than that because now it's like they're rare and it's upgraded. It's something I've always wanted. And, and they just keep repeating. Pokemon, freaking sports, guns, airsoft, you name it. If you can say, I remove emotion from their product and I'm able to, have my pack here and then have, my products here. And I can say, I'm buying this. I'm going to sell it right away at 20% profit. When it sells. They go do that every single month and rebuy. Well, in 2 years, now you have 6 figures, almost, almost $20,000 in your pocket after, just in a little bit.
Right.
And, that's your income. Right. You just, now you're doing that and you just keep cycling through and you pull out 10% a month and, you have, $10,000-$20,000 a month just in Pokemon sales of what you're keeping in your pocket. And, you get a warehouse. Right? So that's the idea with that. And, now we're at the point where we've done this for about 7 or 8 months. We've been buying consistently every single month.
Oh, okay.
And but we bought really smart. So we have a spreadsheet. So we keep track of every single card, product, and then we buy. It's in a massive spreadsheet that's categorized per set. It's the most elaborate Pokemon tracking site web sheet you'll ever freaking see in your life. But you'll see it's actually maxed out the capacity that Excel could. We had to actually get a thing to expand what Excel can process because it was such a big document we created.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's massive.
No,
And we put a lot of time into just lots of typing to build
For sure.
A lot of people they've tried across the years, and you'll find like in Reddits or different forums like, you'll find like someone has done this for this 5 or 6 sets here and 7 or 8 sets here and 2 or 3 sets over here, but no one's gone through and done it for all of the sets since the inception of it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So every card, every set.
I took about a month and a half. He was like, you could be doing the Pokemon community a service. I took a month and a half. I basically was not doing it. Like, that was my full-time job. That was my full-time job. I just sat at a computer.
Data entry.
I would
all
just
day.
Data entry. All day, every day, for all kinds of Pokemon.
Elaborate,
and then trying to also then research, okay. But, the website's saying, it's just, this data, easy. But if you start looking around, it's like, okay, but then there's also the promo cards for this set and make a separate section.
There's a lot of cards people don't know exist. You have to look at research to find do exist.
This set had 2 or 3 cards that were variants, or they had a printing error. So you need to log, okay, was this the normal card or the one with the printing error? Or is it the reverse card? Or is it the promo version of that? And then trying to just encapsulate it in each of those per set. But there's like
hundreds of sets and
there's between
hundreds of
2 and
cards
4
per
sets
set.
released
And each
every
has like
year.
2 to 4 variants.
And Pokemon's been around for 25 years now.
Yeah.
Right.
It's building up very quickly.
So the idea is that, so essentially with that spreadsheet, we've come to find out that by buying and selling, and we have mystery packs, things we sell, we have it's called, we go by the 90s kids.
Yeah.
The name we have for the little Pokemon business. But is we basically after buying and selling, we found like kids selling boxes of cards. We went off to college. I've had these. Getting rid of these things for cheap, and they're like thousands of bucks of cards in a box for a few $100. There's people like I have a store. I bought a pallet, or I'm trying to get out of my collection or whatever. We buy smart, buy bulk of things that are very undervalued. By just constantly every day just kind of looking at the hot spots of where to find things and being the first people to claim stuff.
Or for our personal collection,
and,
we can see, they have a lot of this particular set that we don't have much of, and they have bulk of a bunch of these other cards that sure we'll take them and we will find a way to reutilize them and help them pay for themselves and our hobby.
But by basically buying and selling and smart, essentially the spreadsheet now says that we've spent about net $6,000 for just under $30,000 of product we have. So we sell it right now at the market value. It's slightly under, it's like $28,000. And net to date, we've spent or invested in the last 7-8 months about $6,000 into that. Because it was more like like a 10 or 11, but because of buying and selling, that about 20ish% margin in the short term, we've been buying and selling stuff.
Yeah.
So it came out to be about $6,000, which was about 20% under what we spent. But yeah, no, but essentially buying smart, you know, and collecting up and saving, and as we constantly update our spreadsheets, the value goes up a lot because, you know, so Pokemon product never goes down. You know, it can go down from relative point. Like say if it's like if a pack starts at which, you know, typically you buy a booster box, $2.75 to $3.75 if you buy a booster box of 36 packs. In a year, that same pack is going to be $5-6. And right now, in this case, within 7 months, last several sets that went out last year, now they're about $5-6 a pack. And ones from 4 or 5 years ago, about 30, 40, $50 a pack. Now it's just like waiting 3 to 4 years. Now your packs are worth 40 to $50 each. You have hundreds of them in a box that you spent $500 on that are now worth, you know, $5,000-6,000. Right.
They're choose to, you know, you can break it open and sell them individually, or you have that sealed product that has even more value to it. And it's beautiful.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I was talking with the only other person I talked with recently was John. He is the owner of Full Auto Airsoft up in New Jersey.
Tight.
And he was talking about his Pokemon.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was very interesting. He does the same thing, been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And it's actually funded a lot of his, you know, his business.
Yeah, and that's
with Airsoft. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. But listen, guys, it's been really great to meet you guys.
Same here,
absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys being on here. So tell everybody again where all your stuff. You got the MilsimFinder. You got
MilsimFinder.com. So that's the you want to look for. You want to know where the events are across the country, specifically Milsim events. You want to get some resources. You want to post an event, yada yada. Even if it's like a small local, like an open play mini Milsim, we take those submissions as well because, you know, hey, it's a Milsim event. You need to practice. You want to go somewhere. MilsimFinder.com. You want to buy, sell, trade airsoft stuff. Link. You want to be able to link airsoft sales or requests on Facebook without being banned. And in theory, because that's what. Terms and conditions, it looks like that works that way. It's worked so far with us. Yeah, it works so far. No one's had any problem with it. Milsim BST, so MilsimBST.com. And then, we do, we have different events and whatnot. You'll see us with MilsimFinder shirts. We have a group on Facebook, the MilsimFinder.
Which we have linked at the website as well.
Yep, is exactly. Nowhere on the website, you'll be there. The Facebook group, join that. It's a lot of fun. We put memes and events and things like that, and you know, a lot of people like meet, talk through there. It's just another resource. There's a bunch of them, but you know,
and then you have
business as usual.
And you have your Instagram.
Oh, yeah. So we haven't started a MilsimFinder Instagram yet, simply because of very few of the people that do Milsims. They are so much more for Facebook than Instagram. They'd be more for like.
Well, they're used to that, yeah.
Yes, it is. We're going to try.
Grace, you have the way I found you. What's your Instagram again? I forget.
Oh, my Instagram is my name, which is Grace von Seckendorf. It is.
At Grace von Seckendorf, and then at for me, Bunkr Studio STL, Bunkr Studio STL. If you search Studio STL on Instagram, usually it comes up first. But
I'll tag all these in the video as well.
Perfect. And I can send you the different details.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great.
But yeah, no, I'll send you details for, because we have MilsimFinder. If you happen to be interested in any music video work, we also do travel.
Oh, yeah, videography for events, you know, music video.
Hey, listen, speaking of that, I'm horrible at writing little descriptions for like these podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to, you know, send me whatever you want me to put in there, I would welcome it all day. Okay, and twice on Sunday.
As what I do, like I've, you know, what got me into the entertainment industry is I did, you know, YouTube, managing work, MCN work, things like that. I did manage channels for Black Eyed Peas, Jennifer Lopez, and Ariana Grande about 7-8-ish years ago. Actually, no, more than that. I was in college. That was my summer job. But did that. I do, you know, YouTube videos, marketing, things like that, websites, promotion, ads, things of that nature. So for you personally too, with this channel and whatnot, if you never need any YouTube advice, growth, you want graphics, you want to do a thing where, your video has a cool looking thing around it and you can have subscribers come and you want to do a live, hit me up, because, I help people out with their media channels and their content marketing. That's why my degree is content.
Okay.
couple degrees, but one of them is content marketing. And yeah, so let me know because it's what I do all day, every day. Yeah, make
Yeah, that'd be great because I after 3 years of doing this, I shouldn't be struggling as much as I am with this technology. So
Oh yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, there's always
yeah,
ways to streamline things too.
Yep.
There's ways where you can streamline it
for
super.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, guys. It's been awesome.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you so much.
Hell yeah. And maybe I will see you in
Yes,
Carlisle,
you
South
will. You
Carolina.
will see us out there because it's in your backyard, man.
We're gonna be there, so hopefully
I know.
Yes.
All right.
That's
Well, thanks again, guys. You guys have a good night.
You
Thank you.
too.
You
Thank you.
too.
It's a pleasure.